Hey guys, I'm Brendan.
I'm Levi.
And he's eating, so I'm going to talk a little bit more while he... Oh, okay, sure, fine. We do have this. All right. It's not going to be a distraction, I swear.
Blaster Hippie, what's up?
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the ACT. We don't have any...
We're talking about anything you guys ask us about. Hold on, let me...
Yes, so there's only ACT stuff. You're not even allowed to mention the SAT. Do not mention Brendan's personal life. Don't do it.
Right.
Plaster Hippie, I'm looking at you directly. Do not mention Brendan's
But
personal life.
Plaster Hippie, I do remember 2 days ago, because time passes, that you had questions for us. Did they ask questions today?
Yes, and we got to them.
Well, I just want to clarify that I wasn't there, so it doesn't count. So if you don't have more questions for me, then I'm a little upset.
Those questions we already explained to you. Could you please post them again?
No. You're not going to tell me every single question you've ever had was answered. I don't believe it. Not that these guys aren't good enough. We just don't have enough time, I don't think.
Yes, very good. So is he... Oh, you know what? We should have raised that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could.
We could. We also should.
Oh, those were people from
Yeah.
the night prior.
Yeah.
For some reason, that makes me think of one of the Lonely Island songs there when you say that. All right, you cover this real quick. I gotta go do some stuff.
Oh yeah,
The computer.
I'm gonna cover stuff.
Get some questions going.
Yeah. So we need some questions. Ask some questions. Plaster Hippie, are you taking the test on Saturday? Hey, bird. How you doing?
Ah!
Very good.
I'm a bird.
Yeah, you are. What's up?
Nothing.
Okay.
This
Bird.
is the Cram Session.
This is the Cram Session.
You're ready to cram things. Duh. Like that?
Are you like the thing right now?
That was a very mod. Oh, what do we got? Yes, I'm crushing test. That's true. You
Crushing
are
is
crushing.
downward?
Cram tonight, cram tomorrow, crush Saturday.
Yes.
Yes, very good. And I'm here now, so I gotta help you with that. So, Plaster Hippie, you've asked a bunch of questions. Oh, can you scroll down? There seems to be another thing, and I missed it on the thing, and I don't know why it's not working. Thank you. I haven't done more practice problems yet, so I don't know anything specific to ask about. That's cool. That's cool. We went over a bunch of general approach stuff the last couple of days, so that was good. If we want to do something regarding English, okay, Plaster Hippie. Since it's just you and me, what are the 4 uses of commas on the SAT? There are more, but what are the 4 main uses of commas on the SAT? If you can get them all, we don't have to go through them. But I realized that we never actually did the commas on Wednesday. Tuesday?
You didn't do vocab and context either the other day.
Yeah, we just never got to this stuff. So Plaster Hippie, what are those 4? Oh, hey, JetBlue, what's up? Oh, JetBlue's here. Okay, JetBlue has a question. Can you check the Discord?
Yes.
JetBlue's question from yesterday.
Did you guys post on the Discord that we had started?
Cool.
No, we were busy. We were very busy.
Yes, that was
Oh, I was... Okay.
You were sitting on your phone on the subway. That's what you were doing.
Yeah, I was busy coming back from a 10-hour day of work. What were you doing all day?
I was making money. Oh, gosh.
No, you weren't.
I was.
Okay, questions for stream. We're looking for JetBlue. Number 40, is that the one?
Yes.
Okay. So, let's write this out. Fanboys. Okay. You're asking about these.
Nice.
Listen
Improbable events. We are going to do some comma stuff for sure.
Improbable events. It's completely improbable that you're here. I never would have guessed.
Improbable events. From whence did you come?
Nice.
There we go.
That's the
That worked.
proper use of whence.
Yes. Or Carson. Football player, don't worry.
Whence Carson?
No.
What's his
Carson
name?
Carson
Daly.
Wentz.
Carson
Okay.
Wentz.
You
Hey,
both-
guys.
What?
Whoa, Plaster Hippie.
What did you do?
Me.
Well done, Plaster Hippie! Well done!
Very good.
Deep press. Continue.
Thank you for the sub. We appreciate it.
All right. Worth it. Yeah, I think so too. Let's write out this sentence. I'm going to put a different name besides Deutsch just because I'm going to get sick of saying that. Smith suggests that children...
What about them?
You'll get there.
I'm waiting to see what they suggest.
That children learn tone languages,
Oh no.
not tonal languages.
I will put up the answer choices for you.
Look, maybe.
I hear that's a tonal language.
Answer
Develop
choices?
tone languages. Okay, suggests that children learning tone languages develop the ability to associate pitch with meaning. Blah 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 blah, which is analogous to someone with absolute pitch associating pitch with the name of a note. Okay. And the question is about comma usage. We have a bunch of commas that are all around. This is the underlined portion from here through here.
Yes.
Okay. So Deutsch suggests that children learning
You can use
tone
commas for
languages develop the ability. Okay. First is no change, which is no commas. The second, or the commas that we're looking at. Some of the answers have a comma after suggests. Some of them have commas after languages. Some of them have comma after children. And I think those are all the commas we have. Yes. Interesting. Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. So I think first thing you'd want to ask yourself is, what is the subject and what's the verb of this sentence? And it's kind of a difficult question because there's always a main subject and a main verb. And we get those the very first two words of the sentence. It's Deutsch suggests. That's the main subject and main verb. But then inside you have what's called a relative clause, which is what Deutsch is suggesting. He's suggesting that children learning tone languages develop the ability. So we have a subject and a verb inside that clause. So children learning tone languages, that's a subject, develop the ability, blah, blah, blah. We have a verb there, we have a subject there. Okay, fantastic. So. First thing, a comma after suggests. Deutsch suggests, comma, that children learning blah, 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 blah. That is not what you want, because there is no reason to separate what Deutsch, the fact that Deutsch is suggesting from the thing that Deutsch is suggesting. It's just like saying, I said hello. Hello is what I'm saying. I said, comma, hello. You wouldn't use that, unless you're using quotation marks, but they never really test you on quotation mark commas, so don't worry about that. There's no quotes here. This is a direct line of what you're suggesting. It's almost like saying, I threw a ball. This is the direct object of the verb suggest. So there's no reason to have a comma here, okay? There's no separation that belongs there. Okay. Another interpretation of this comma is it might be the beginning of an interrupting element. So it might be paired with another comma. I think one of the options has it paired with, let's see, suggests. Yes, so G has it paired with this comma here, so they don't have a comma after children. Okay?
Real quick, right?
Yeah.
Can you ask Bob which one of the one we have supplied? Hey Bob, on the one we have supplied below?
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, Bob Jamaro. 58, is that on the one we've supplied? It looks like they put a link. Oh, they put a link right on the, oh yeah, can you guys take a look at that?
Let me pull it up. Oh, hey chess guy.
They're pulling it up. It's December 2018. Got it. All right, we'll take a look at that. Okay, the other interpretation of this comma is that this is the first of an interrupting element. It's a non-essential that's in the middle of a sentence, and that you'd pair it up with this comma, so that the stuff in between is non-essential. And if it's non-essential, we could take it out, and the sentence would be clearer and shorter and make a little more sense. Let's do that. Let's take out everything between these commas. Deutsch suggests, develop the ability, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's not right. There is essential information in between these commas, so we can't treat it like a pair there. Okay, so this comma is out of the running. Okay, the next thing is there's a comma after children.
We got a question from Plaster Hippie up there as well.
We
after
do.
Bob. So put Bob and then Plaster Hippie, please. Oh,
Bob.
that is Bob's question. So just Bob. Just Bob.
Just Bob. Whew. Okay.
Bob.
Just Bob. Just Bob. Phew. I like it when it's just Bob. The next thing. Do we want to separate children from learning tone languages? And the answer to this is no. Because learning tone languages is essential to understanding which children we're talking about. Okay? Learning is a verb. ING, yes, it's a verb, but it's being used to describe who the children are. Which children develop the ability? The children learning tone languages, okay? It's just like saying the swimmers running around the court are on fire, okay? Running around the court tells us which swimmers we're talking about, so there is no need here The only way we possibly want a comma after children is if it's paired up with this comma here, and that's not an option that they give us, is it? Yes, it is. Learning tone languages is an option that they give us. Okay, so learning tone languages. There is an option with commas around that saying that this would be an interrupting element in the middle. So, children learning tone languages. The question you should ask yourself is the fact that they're learning tone languages essential to this sentence, or is it not? And if you look at the rest of the sentence, you realize that it is essential. It's not just about children that develop the ability to associate pitch with meaning. It's specifically children that are learning tone languages. They're the ones that Deutsch is suggesting develop the ability to associate pitch with meaning, okay? So if something is essential to understand which children we're talking about, this is essential. We don't want to surround it with commas.
Tile!
So we're going to take these commas out. And I think there was one last comma, which is just a single comma after languages. You wouldn't want to do that because you're going to be separating this subject from this verb. The children learning tone languages, it's them that are developing the ability. You never want to separate a subject from the verb that applies to it. Okay? The house is red. You never want to say the house, comma, is red. Subject verbs always go together with no separation. Yeah, that's a doozy. Very interesting. Whenever you see two commas, always check between because they might be indicating you have an interrupting element in the middle, which is something you can take out and the sentence will still be fine. In this case, that was not the case. That's a lot of the word case. All right, Levi still wants to talk about commas in general. There you go.
Thank you. Tile, what's up? How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I can do the next one too. Assuming I am thinking about it the right way. Okay. No problem, JetBlue. Keep asking questions. More questions. Bum, bada, bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Hey, Bird.
Yes.
Actually, no, we shouldn't do that's actually not a good time to do it.
Oh.
Never mind.
Okay.
But you can also just
Look at that. I caught myself before saying something dumb.
Because you can also do that.
Okay, we are doing commas. So, this is, Plaster Hippie, did you get to all 4 of the comma rules or no? Or you just kind of ignored my question, which is fine, because you don't have to do what I say. Commas. We're going to start with what an independent clause is.
I'm going to do the first 2. Okay. I'm not going to do. Yeah. Jeez. Combinations.
Independent.
Did he post something?
Hey guys, can you scroll down again? I don't know why that's happening. I don't know why Restream is being so dumb. Thank you. Kinda ignored. That's, yeah. You know, like 3 out of 4. Can you keep scrolling down? There's more stuff. I don't know why that's such an issue.
Hold on. Does it say?
Yes, independent clause. So this is going to be a subject and verb. It will have to have that. Subject plus verb. And it needs to be a complete thought. It can't depend on anything else. I hope that's visible. It kind of is. This is necessary to understand commas because it's what I'm going to use for the rest of the time when explaining it. So now we're on to commas. Number 1 rule is the easiest, so that's listing. That's mainly what Brady did just now. I wasn't paying any attention to that problem, but was it a hard comma or hard listing commas?
None of the commas were any of those 4 options, so they weren't good commas.
Oh, they just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, that makes sense. So, number 1 is listing. I'm not going to give an example, or I'm not going to write an example, but this is, you know, I am afraid of lions, comma, tigers, comma, and bears. They will not test you on the Oxford comma.
But that is an
Yes,
example.
great.
So Plaster Hippie, I learned this like 2 years ago. The expression is actually for all intents and purposes, not intensive purposes. I was saying intensive purposes for most of my life. So there's absolutely no judgment being applied to you, but it's actually intents and purposes.
Yes.
Granted?
Yes.
Don't you mean granted?
Granted. What? I know,
Morty's
right? Mind blown.
Morty's mind benders.
There you go.
I don't know.
That will be on the BPL subject
Bob
test in
asked
March.
if we're writing backwards.
Yeah. Yes, we are,
Yeah.
Bob.
Good.
Should I tell the story?
Oh,
Yeah. We took about 35 years now?
Yeah.
We took a very
years.
long sabbatical where the 3 of us went to Nepal and we studied with a very specific set of Tibetan monks. Nepal, Tibet. No, Tibet's part of China. There's a whole... Anyway, we studied with a very specific sect amongst that practices the art of writing English backwards, which actually doesn't help them at all, but it was the skill that we needed to use. So kind of like Batman, we went out and we... Exactly. We went out and we learned that, and then we came back, and that's why we're able to do this.
Yeah, actually, so nerdish with the 3 loosely translated means writing backwards.
Extremely loosely translated.
Extremely loosely translated.
Yeah.
So where it literally translates to nothing.
It's like a
You can
very
just choose.
loose translation for
The
sure.
loosest of translations you
Yes.
can possibly have.
Number 2 is comma fanboys. Fanboys is an acronym for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. It's for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Bird, what is it for?
For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. The coordinating conjunctions, but don't worry about that word. Those are the words you need to know.
Yes. For and, nor, but, or, yet, so.
Or.
Yeah. Where? Here.
There you go.
Whatever. There you go. Those are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. They follow a comma. This is used to separate 2 independent clauses. So you have to have independent clause, comma, fanboys. I'm going to write that in orange. Maybe I'm not. Here we go. Comma, fanboys. And then another independent clause. This is one of the 4 ways of separating 2 independent clauses on the SAT and ACT. Brendan, could you scroll down again? Sorry. There are 4 ways to use commas on the test, for the most part. There are 4 ways to separate independent clauses on the test, and that's it. This is the second easiest way for commas. It's very easy to notice. There you go, Plaster Hippie. You're an... number 4 is not quite right there. It's a little backwards. I'm actually going to start with... the DCIC one as number 3 here. So this is DC, comma, IC. So dependent clause, comma, independent clause. Now, a dependent clause is like an independent clause, but it depends on the first one. So I will give an example of this. If we have, let's say, while Brendan... Can someone get me a better marker, please?
Ready?
Yeah.
Up,
Blue,
up,
blue,
hey-o.
blue, 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 blue,
Up,
blue,
up,
blue, blue.
hey-o.
Thank
Up, up, hey-o.
you. Here, take this one without
Hey-o.
the cap on it, and here's the cap.
Is it dead?
No, maybe. Ooh, this is nice. I don't know if you can all see that. Yeah, you can see that's much better. Okay, while Brendan giggles. Here we have a subject and verb, right? Brendan giggles. That can be an independent clause. That can stand alone. That can be a full sentence. But we have the word while here. If you say while Brendan giggles, it leaves you wanting more, right? You don't want Brendan to just giggle. Why is Brendan giggling? What's happening while Brendan giggles? We have to know. We really have to know. Otherwise, you're going to do very poorly on BPL subject tests. So, what we're going to do is while Brendan giggles, we're going to add something here. We'll add... don't want to do it that way. We'll add while Brendan giggles, orange, comma, Brady... What do you do? Give me an adjective or a verb.
I giggle.
No.
I chuckle.
Brady.
Chortles.
Chortles. There you go. That reminds me of Yertle the Turtle, that Dr. Seuss thing. Brendan, can you scroll down again?
Is it not?
It's yeah. It was giving us a problem.
Move yourself so I can see it through the reflection. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Intense. Running. Oh, sorry. Runnig. Very good, Bob. So, this is an independent clause. Semicolons separate independent ideas. Yes, they do. They separate independent clauses as well. Or that's really the main idea. Independent clause, semicolon, independent clause. That is the only use of semicolons on the SAT. Don't worry about it. And ACT and active periods. Yes. You're doing good.
Well, although
Yeah.
you're doing good by asking questions.
Yes, you are doing good by asking questions, but you're feeling well, you're doing well. Well is an adverb. Good is good is a noun, but it's also an adjective, which is how you'd be using it if you're doing good. So this is a dependent clause, comma, independent clause. This can be an independent clause. Just this can be an independent clause, but if we add while, that makes it a dependent clause. So dependent clause, comma, independent clause. If you were to reverse these and you say Brady chortles while Brendan giggles, you don't need a comma. That would be IC, DC. You don't need anything there. That's why it wasn't quite correct to say IC plus DC. Because that, yeah, you can just do that, and if you invert it, this is the inverted form, you want the comma. That is because commas are used to make sense. So unfortunately for everybody in the world, when you're learning stuff for the first time, half the time it feels like it's just a subject that you have to learn. It doesn't actually have any use. Commas actually have a use. It is to make the sentence make sense to a reader who didn't write that sentence and doesn't know for sure. So in this case, we need to separate the kernel of the sentence, which is that independent clause, from everything else. That's what this comma does, because we wouldn't know if we say while Brendan giggles Brady, that means Brendan is giggling Brady, which sounds horrifying. So we want that comma to separate them. Now, if we switch it, we have the word while before we move on. So we have Brady chortles while Brendan giggles. We know by the word while that we are going to move on. So we don't need that comma to demonstrate a break from the independent clause. Number 4 is similar and just a bigger picture of this one, which is independent clause, comma, non-essential. Or you know what? I don't want to do it that way. Positives and non-essentials. They're the same thing. A positive is the technical term. I like non-essential because it's more descriptive, I think. You know what essential means. You know what non-essential means. So, non-essentials. This is when you have an independent clause and you're putting a non-essential element into it. So, if we have Brady... What's up?
Keep going.
Yep. You guys talking about me?
You said you posted something, right?
Me?
On
where?
Reddit?
I was going to, but then I didn't have a chance. Ooh,
Okay.
Sorry for hitting it.
You're the only one of us who does that. You do it every stream.
Yep.
Just so we remember.
Yo, you gotta wash these hands, dude. That's all.
You know, you need to wash your hands. That's what we tell you all the time.
You wash your hands right before you die. Right?
No.
So you go into the grave clean. But before that, there's not really any point.
That's dark.
Well, if you don't wash your hands at all...
Can you
that
show me
might
the
make
chat
us
also?
sooner.
Yeah, right.
That might
Thank you.
happen sooner.
Hygiene.
That's a good point,
I
Brendan.
might refresh this.
Yeah, I tried that. Non-essential stuff gets closed in by commas. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Very
try
good.
rush.
I would, not to be nitpicky, you're definitely right, Plaster Hippie, but it actually, I would think of it as it protects the independent clause because, and I'll explain this in a second. Brady, my partner, what do we say, chortles?
Then do it.
So this comma is number 3. It's the dependent clause, and then we have this independent clause. And then we have the non-essential commas for my partner. We're sticking my partner to describe Brady, but it doesn't have to be there. We care about saying Brady chortles. So we have to put the commas on both sides. These commas are for non-essential. But I actually noticed these are tested infrequently.
Wait. Mojo has a great question for you.
Mojo. Can you also use the dashes as well as enclose unnecessary info? Yes. So that's about what we're going to get to that. I can go to that after the commas. Now, it's important to realize that you do not need 2 commas to have a non-essential. If the non-essential is inside the independent clause, you do. So if you have an independent clause, and then in the middle of it you have a non-essential, it'll look like this. Your non-essential here, and then the rest of your independent clause. But you could also have an independent clause, and then just at the end of it, you have your non-essential. And then the sentence just ends. So this could be something like, let's say...
Talk is cheap.
Yeah, I talk to Brady,
Yay!
my partner. We don't need the other comma here because the sentence ends. So you're not separating my partner from the independent clause on the other side. So it's not exact. So yes, you're enclosing your non-essential as much as it needs to be. But if you have a period, obviously you're not going to do comma period. This can also work at the beginning. So what this means is commas are really hard.
Look at that. Oh, no.
Ooh, it's all white. That was cool. Commas are really hard. Let me know if I missed anything in the chat that just happened.
No, you didn't. You're good.
Okay. Commas are hard because there are 4 uses and there are lots of little nitpicky things about them. Just because you see 2 commas doesn't mean you have a non-essential. They could be listing. It could be comma fanboys. You could have multiple independent clauses separated by comma fanboys. You could have a DC. Here, we have this one right here. We have 3 commas. This one is DC IC, and then we have a non-essential here. So there can be multiple different reasons. The non-essentials are not necessarily the right answer every time, but having commas does mean that you need to understand what a non-essential is.
Dun, 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 dun. Fantastic.
Great. It's good to
Alright.
process me. I normally get almost all the other questions right except for comma questions.
Well, then congrats on your 36 this Saturday.
Great.
Am I right?
Yeah, oh, very nice. If commas are your only problem on the entire test, you are sitting pretty because this is commas right here. Sometimes you need to know that, yeah, pray, definitely. Pray to, who are we going to pray to? Pray to us. I think we should be
Well,
idols.
whoever
Right?
you want. Let's see. Let's
Maybe
just get into
Brendan.
that.
Maybe Brendan. Let's make Brendan an
No.
idol. Doesn't that make you feel good, though?
I'm going to remove you from the stream physically.
Uh,
Religion and politics out of it.
He's got the Greek god.
Sorry, you may have repeated this. Nerdishism. Hi, Crush. What's up? But my partner is not essential, right? Yes,
Yes.
it is. It's describing Brady. We don't have to have it there. What's more important is Brady chortles. That's the point. So you
That's
need to
so
be able to understand the context of the sentence as well.
Absolutely.
So what this means is anytime you see a comma in an answer choice and it's not in the other answer choices in the English section, or it's not in the same place or whatever, you have to find your independent clauses. So that's where you begin. Find your independent clause or clauses in that sentence. Once you've identified what those are, you can better figure out what is essential and what is non-essential.
You have used enough time. They're comfortable. I'm gonna.
That's so not true.
If you
This
guys
is
have
the most
questions, keep it
important
going.
part.
Important question.
This is the most important
Yeah,
part.
why do you use a colon?
Okay,
I
so
think
now...
do semicolons and colons then. 'Cause-
Yeah, you can write it. So
No,
here's...
have it up there.
Oh, okay.
Item saying before Bob.
Got it. All right.
Wait,
so,
you're trying to talk again.
Yes, I am.
Guys, and there's a lot of questions.
Shoot.
So when you
Something
see
polite.
commas in anything, okay, what you need to do is you need to go through this list. And I would recommend going through the list in this order because listing is pretty easy to recognize. And then go to comma fanboys because you know the 7 words that would have to come after the comma for it to be a comma fanboys. And then go to DCIC, that's hard to recognize. And then non-essentials can be all over the place. They're very, very different all the time. There's a lot of variety. So go through in this order. And the question Brady just did, he basically went through this list of possible comma uses and didn't find one. So those commas had no use, and therefore they're all wrong. And that's how he got to the answer there. So just because the non-essential is not the right answer, it doesn't mean that you don't need to know it. So that's commas. And now let's talk. You want to do dashes?
Well, they asked, is non-essential the only use for dashes? On the test, yes.
Yes. Yes. Only use of dashes on the test. What that means, so dashes are very easy, way easier than commas. If you see 2 dashes, you know that the non-essential is in between them. If you see 1 dash, the non-essential could be on either side of it. Very, very likely it's after it. And then you're working from there. So you're saying, okay, well, if there are 2 independent or 2 dashes, take out the non-essential and see if the sentence works without it. If it works, if it is a full independent clause, then that answer is not wrong for that reason. Maybe there are other issues.
And then one last thing about dashes and commas. There is a common mistake where they'll give you an interrupting element in the middle of the sentence, and they'll have a dash starting it and a comma ending it, or a comma starting it and a dash ending it. You cannot mix and match when you've got a non-essential. If it's in the middle, you either use 2 commas or you use 2 dashes.
Ooh, that's a new pink marker. Okay, yo, Bob Jamaro, you still here? It seems like you are. I just want to make sure. Brady, can you go click that? I don't know why this isn't working well for us.
Got it.
You just, the mouse is right above it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep. All right. Yeah, you are. Okay. Stuff before, create a list. So, semicolons, did you do that real quick while I was writing the other thing?
No. I did
It's
not.
used as a period. Period.
Yeah, they actually said that in the chat.
Okay. Yeah,
so
I
that's
did.
good.
So, a semicolon is, on the test, you are only going to use it to separate 2 independent clauses.
So that is the easiest punctuation. So in order, commas are the hardest, semicolons are easiest, colons are pretty easy, dashes are pretty easy. It's all about independent clauses, though. If you don't know independent clauses, you're cooked.
But now, Bob's question.
iCrush. Who's talking to iCrush?
like
Oh, that's
Bob's
me.
Burgers.
Hey, why am I talking to iCrush
It's
when
me,
I'm up
don't
here?
worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Halftime show. Same thing. Okay. I'll let you finish that while I do Bob. All right. So Bob's question. A little bit of probability here. Oh, now I got to pull it back up. Sorry, guys, but it's talking about Jill and Romero, right? Go to a golf tournament. Brady, can you just sit over there to continue
Yeah.
scrolling for that?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. So Jill and Romero. Yeah, Ramona. Okay, Brady.
Jigger.
Thank you. I love you. You have Jill. You have Ramona. And 2 other people. Explain comma splices. That's when you use a comma between 2 independent clauses. Or I guess in theory it could be anywhere.
That's exactly what it is.
It could be anywhere and it's not following those 4 rules.
No, exactly the first thing you said. Specifically between two independent clauses.
Yeah, it's in between two independent clauses. Clauses? I don't know. I'm tired. Clauses, and you don't use a fanboy.
That's bad. Don't do it, ever. So if you
What'd he
recognize two independent clauses, then this needs to be comma and.
We're going to call them and.
Something like that.
And Blake, because I wanted to use A and B. So
Nice.
we're going to say Jill is J, Ramona is R, Ann is A, and Blake is B. Chess guy, yeah. All right, so Bob, this is what I like. This is how I like to visualize this. So there's a number of ways we can do this, right? You're going to have two groups of two. Okay, Levi, then, can you sit over there and continually
Yes.
do that? Thank you. I don't know why it's not working tonight. All right, we're trying to get these four people, split them into two groups of two, and find the probability. I should never write that out. I should just do prob. Of Jill, and Ramona. Let's make that a better J. Jill and Ramona being on the same team. In cursive is not going to be helpful for you guys. On the same team. We don't have to worry about grammar here because math. On the same team. The way I like to think about this, two ways. We'll prove it in a second, and that takes a little bit more time. However, if this is one of the few problems that gives you trouble and you have enough time to finish it and go through it, that's great. So we want Jill and Ramona, Ramona and Jill. So I'm going to start with saying, okay, Jill is there. She has how many people to choose from? She has Ramona, Ann, and Blake.
Blake, my lord.
You got it completely wrong. You usually get probability correct, but this one you got completely wrong. Okay, so right now you start with Jill, and the odds of you ending up with Ramona, because it's a random selection here, is 1 out of, I'm not going to make it look like a ratio. That's foolish of me. That'll be confusing for you. Is 1 out of a total of 3. Done.
Yay!
However, there are more ways to explain this so it makes more sense than just this. Hey, Fluffy Nelson. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Fluff. What's up, Fluff?
Okay. Another way to think about this, Bob, if this right here doesn't clear it up, is say what are all the pairings we could have? And this is going to get a little bit out there, but we're going to have, okay, so we can have Jill and Ramona. We can have Ramona and Jill, right? Either way. On the other side, we can have actually, this is technically the right way. I think it'll work out to be the same even if I don't double up.
It'll work out to be the same. I would say don't double
Yeah,
up.
I'm not going to double up.
Easier for you.
Yeah, it's a lot less work. So this is a win for us, for what we want, okay? And we're going to say a loss because I like thinking about things as games. What about Blake and Ann? I mean, in theory, we want Blake and Ann also to end up together because that's like a romance that everybody's been fighting for. Can you scroll down real quick? Who doesn't want Blake and Ann? That's what confuses you? Okay, so all your odds of winning are if you get Jill and Ramona together. That's your only shot. So Jill can also be with Ann, and Jill can also be with Blake. And so you have Levi.
Yes?
I want to do all of them, I think. Right?
Well, they're just on teams together, so there is not.
I guess.
Like it's
So the
it's
odds.
combinations. Not.
Okay, the only way you can win is with Jill and Ramona. Any other way is going to be Jill with Ann, now I'm getting myself names, and Jill with Blake. So you have 1 out of 1, 2, 3. Is that a little bit clear?
Could do J R B A. Yeah, don't
Yeah,
worry
it could be the same thing.
about Blake and Ann. As soon as you put J and R together, Blake and Ann are automatically put together. All you need to worry about is one pairing, and all the rest of it takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Bob, you're worrying too much about Blake and Ann. You know? Oh, there it is.
I mean, they are the power couple we all want,
Yes.
but let's not worry about it. Can we also explain 51? Add it to the list.
On this ours?
No, it's on theirs, but 51 on... Just put 51 so we remember it.
Is this Bob's question?
Yeah, that was Bob. And we kind of semicolons, and we did colons, right? Because someone asked about
Yeah.
that as well. If there are any
No.
colons, okay. Someone asked about colons before reading strats. So colons are Can one of you stay sitting there?
Yeah.
Chat, clip it. That way we can just continually have it so we can not have to say it all the time. Is this... Okay, no, we don't need that. This is all the space I need for colons. So a colon takes something that is an independent clause and joins it. Ready for this? With brackets here, getting confusing. Whatever.
Yeah.
And not like a preteen who's just like ticked at their parents because they're like, hey, where do you want to eat? And they're like, whatever. It's like literally whatever, right? However, there's a stipulation. So independent clause, we've covered that. The whatever builds on this. Builds on. Yeah, that's where that goes. Builds on. It explains. You get what I'm saying, Levi? Can you scroll? I hate that this is not working tonight. Can you post a question on the Discord? I know how to do that one. Great. Oh, 51. Good, JetBlue. But whoever was asking about colons earlier, we didn't write your name down. We just wrote what it was or whatever. Does this make sense? Or to anyone watching, does this not make sense? That's maybe a better way to ask this. A colon adds an independent clause and anything else we want. Which test are you guys listing question numbers from? That was one that Bob linked. We have a test below you can choose from, and we can pull that up on the screen and go through it. If you want to go through those, if you have pictures of any questions, you can post it, and we'll go over that. Seems like there are no questions on this. Great. Moving on. Reading strats. Oh, where's the... No, that one's
I'm not
empty.
exactly sure. Yeah, they're all kind of
All right, cool, good stuff.
gone now. Oh no, this one's good.
I thought there was one. Okay. Check the Discord. Mojo.
Yes,
Oh,
Mojo.
you know what, Mojo? I keep thinking it's Mojo Jojo,
And it's not.
and it's not.
I think it's
So,
Jomo Momo.
I'm getting ready to do Mojo Jojo, and then it's I'm not disappointed.
Mojo Jojo.
I'm just I'm angry. Adding to the reading strats, I get when doing it with an 8-minute timer. Lady,
Brady, can you
I know it's not as comfortable.
What?
Can you sit over there to scroll the chat for us?
Yeah.
But putting everything together, yeah, I think it's also a matter of potentially fatigue going through. It can be mentally fatigued, right? That looks weird. Okay, hopefully it's just on my side. Right, to go through and do all of those. Otra vez, ready? So consistently, it's okay, I guess again, Braid. I don't know why this is not doing that. Okay, so I would recommend, I guess it depends on how you do it. If you're a fast reader, there's a certain strategy. If you're a slow reader, there's another strategy. Plaster Hippie specifically, you take a little bit too long to read the passage. If you're a slow reader, Levi's strategy is really good for you. And we'll get to that in a second. Something you can do regardless of how slow or fast you are. And maybe Mojo. This can help you too. So you do try to look at the questions. Because I'm a slow reader, I map out where I will find the answers. That's useful. Brady, can you just hand me the mouse then? Or actually, hold on. Where did the pen go for this? Because I can do it from here.
Right here, but it's not plugged in.
Well then, why did I bring it over here? Okay. You look at where you'll find questions. So, wow, Mojo, congratulations. Reading strategies. So, yes, you want to read. You want to glance at the questions beforehand. You want to find the questions that have numbers in them, number lines in there, line numbers in them. So you can then find those later on. Or you can then mark them on the passage. And when you're skimming, if you're a slow reader,
We're good.
when you're skimming, you can then make sure to read those lines specifically and potentially even answer them as you go. Another thing you could do, there might be better ways for you to skim. So I would say whether or not, how you skim can affect how well you remember it. If you tend to do the first paragraph, the first sentence of each paragraph, and then the final paragraph, that might work for you, it might not. If you've never done that, it's worth trying. Another thing that Levi does is he reads until he understands it, then he reads until it skips some, reads till he understands it, skips some, and that way he has maybe read maybe a half the passage, Levi? 3/4, a half?
Not even.
Not even a half of the
Maybe a
passage.
quarter.
Maybe a quarter of the passage, and it enables him to kind of have an idea of where the main parts are, right? He has an idea of where things are. Go ahead.
I'm going to draw out the strategy that we talked about yesterday, because one of you guys was asking about me talking about that. So I'm just going to pretend that this is
Paragraphs?
a bunch of paragraphs in a passage.
Cool.
And then we have some questions. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the first thing that I do
Plug this in.
is, instead of going to the passage and starting to read, I very quickly go to the questions and I skim over them, not reading them fully, just looking for line number mentions, okay? So question 2 might say something about lines 43 to 48. Question 4 might say something about lines 62. 8 might say something about the third paragraph. That's what you're looking for, okay? I underline them just so I remember them. And then before I read, I mark these lines on the passage. So I do it with a vertical line. So I'll say, okay, 43 to 48, that's this right here. 62, that's this right there. And then the third paragraph is this right here. Here's the advantage to doing this. Then you start reading. As soon as you see this marking, you know that there's going to be a question about this. So pay attention, which you would have been doing anyway. After you finish reading this paragraph, go immediately to this question and do it right then. Okay? This is going to help you save time, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to finish reading, blah, blah, blah. Eventually you're going to get to this, and it's going to say, what was the third paragraph about? And you're going to be like, oh, let me read the third paragraph again. This is not the third paragraph. That's the third paragraph. You're going to read the third paragraph again. And you already read it, so this is going to take, you're going to read this a second time, which you don't want to have to do, because you knew there was a question about it from the get-go. So try this before you do it on the actual test, just to get the feel of it. But usually there's 3 or 4 questions sometimes that have marked line numbers in each passage. So by the time that you're finished, so you do this question, keep going, you do that question, you keep reading, you do that question, then you keep reading. You've already done 3 or 4 questions already. So you don't have that many left, and you don't have to go back and read these things.
So Bob Jamaro, I'm assuming, I'm just going to, Jam. Hey, Jamaro, Bobo, whatever. The way you can do this, even if you say you have a bad memory and you feel like you have to continually go back and reread it, if you skim until you kind of understand what's going on, it might still save you enough time to just write down a quick note about what it was about, right? So that way you don't have to continue reading. You can take 5 to 10 seconds to write something that summarizes it, right? It just has to be something you understand. It could be complete gibberish to anyone and everyone else, and honestly, if it is, who cares? It might help if you just skim and end up only reading about a quarter of the passage. It might be easier to remember that smaller amount. But if that's still giving you issues, I would say it might not hurt to write some notes down after you summarize each, section as you go.
Yeah, and one more thing about this, which is, this is supposed to save you time. So like sometimes I teach this to students, and then they this process of marking it takes them 45 seconds. This line marking thing should take you no more than 15 to 20 seconds. The goal of this thing is to speed you up. So try this like it's a sport. Find those lines as fast as you can. Underline them, all right? Put the markings where they're supposed to go, and then start reading as fast as you can. Do not just leisurely, do this process, because then you're going to be losing time on something that we're supposed to give you time in the first place.
Yo, Bobo, does that help? Also, for these strategies, the goal is to, good. The goal is to practice these before the actual test. So, if you're going to practice it, I would say tomorrow is the last day before the test, so you maybe don't want to take an entire test. But it can help to try doing maybe a section or two and seeing if it works for you. You stay inside your time limits. Maybe you're able to, accelerate it, right? Oh, that was bad. I didn't mean it like that either. But you're able to do it more quickly, which then enables you to have more time to go back and do those questions that are a little more tricky that you're probably guessing on.
Yes. Levi.
Yes.
Shall we
also,
tell them?
Reading strats, you want to do prove 3 wrong, always.
Yes.
It also takes the extra couple seconds to mark the question number by the line. It does take a couple seconds, but it is totally worth it because you're not having to reread it, which takes longer.
So you guys might be noticing something new about our stream, which is we're kind of growing up in the world. Brendan didn't get a haircut.
I got this. Don't worry.
We're kind of growing up in the world, and we now officially have a sponsor.
That's not our own tutoring company.
Yes,
yeah.
Alta Ipsum. Levi, tell them about Alta Ipsum.
Alta Ipsum in
Right
Latin, not super loosely, but loosely translates to summit yourself, which means to make yourself the best that you can possibly be. It's an online organization, executive functioning app, and it allows you to organize and to plan and to track your grades online. And what you can actually do is you can put in an assignment in its tracker, and if you put it 3 weeks ahead, it can be a term paper, it can be a test, and it will organize for you a study schedule or a practice schedule. And do you want to tell them what they can do with us?
Yes, exactly. And one thing you can do with it is, because doing SAT and ACT prep is also something that you need to be doing regularly and watching us, obviously, you can use this app to remind yourself to watch Nerdish and to do some practice problems. Why don't you make the theme purple, like our shirts? That might be just a suggestion. Also, the first month of Alta Ipsum is free, so you can get a sense of if it works for you. But we think it's a really, really cool program, and you guys should check it out.
I agree. All right. iCrush Dreams. There you go. It was 15 minutes late. Real quick before we do this. So,
Yes.
Mojo, you were saying that 9 minutes is too slow. I want to go ahead and kind of kick back on that. Now, in theory, sure, you only have so much time, but I don't want to kind of make anyone who can't read quickly enough or go through this quickly enough think that they don't have hope, I guess. Even if Plaster Hippie, you're a slower reader and you're going through these slower, there's still a strategy with that in mind. So the passage that's going to take you the longest, you should save till the end anyway.
Improbable events. If you would like to send in a picture, you could maybe link it in the chat, but ideally you
Can you
join
type
our
the Discord?
discount. Bah.
Discount.
I
We're
don't know
already
how I got
free.
there.
What do you want?
Yeah,
Can you
huge
type
discount tonight.
Can someone do
Discord.
exclamation point Discord?
Yes. Paste in Discord. In the channel in Discord,
I mean,
it is
someone else can
questions
do
for
it.
Twitch.
Ooh, I got it. Don't worry.
But it's our
Hands.
Discord down below. You can click that link.
Thank you, Plaster
Thank
Hippie.
You, Plaster Hippie.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Plaster Hippie.
On chronological order questions. Do you have general tips on chronological order questions? On like the grammar section?
That is an uncommon question type in the reading section, is what I think you might be talking about.
Yes.
There is one you should skip first, and it's the one that
Yes.
you hate. So if
Yes.
that's literature, if that's or language, literature, the history, whatever, save it for the end.
Yes.
And
so,
always fill every answer. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So these chronological questions, they're hard because you have to know where all of those things are. Definitely leave those later because you'll have a better understanding of the passage as a whole.
Also, if you read the questions, or hey Storm, if you skim the questions beforehand, you can see them asking an accept question on the ACT or chronological order questions on the ACT, and you can read them and say, oh, now I am going to read these answer choices and think about them as I go through this.
Be aware that there's certain framing devices for reading passages, like an old man telling a story about when he was a child. So the very first paragraph is, an old man recounting, in the days of my youth, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes that's
Really,
part
this
of
to
how
you,
they get you,
this house,
is because you
this
realize,
over there.
oh, that was not the first thing to happen, because he is an old man talking about his childhood.
That's
So
what
it's
I
the first
forgot.
event in his childhood. Who is that guy in the middle? Who is that guy in the middle? That's a great question.
I don't know what that means. Storm.
Dan Amon.
All right.
What a guy.
We got number 51 right here, which is a vector question. So some of you guys that have not seen vector notation, they have these unit vectors in the x and the y direction that they call I and j. Actually, I hat and j hat is what they're called when you get to linear algebra. Okay, so you guys can see this in our Discord. Where's the other guy with glasses? I'm right here. Okay, the vector I represents 1 mile per hour east, so these are going to represent speeds, and j represents 1 mile per hour north. According to her GPS, at a particular instant, Tia is biking 30 degrees west of north at 16 miles per hour. I got to draw this thing, okay? So if I represents east, we're just looking at this like it's a normal compass rose,
Oh,
okay?
51?
Yeah. So 30 degrees west of north sounds very strange, but it's 30 degrees west of north is exactly what it sounds like. You go to north, you're going to go 30 degrees west. So you're rotating 30 degrees in the western direction from north. So if we rotate 30 degrees, we have a vector that looks like this. This is where 30 degrees goes, right there. Okay, not the best color to use here.
Yeah, JetBlue
Does
Plus.
not look
Ask
great.
questions.
Does not look great. Can one of you guys throw me a rag? Thank you.
Yes, I did it.
There
Jet, blue, and Pollux.
Okay,
Like Jackson.
just like
Miss
Jackson.
Jackson. I need this.
So that's 30
Harry Liston.
right there. The length of the vector is 16 because it's 16 miles per hour. So every vector has two quantities to it, which is the direction it's going and the magnitude, which is like the actual size of the vector. So in this case, we have an arrow that is 16 units long, representing 16 miles per hour, and it's 30 degrees west of north. Okay, so you got to get that picture right if you're going to get the rest of this. One of the following vectors represents unit velocity in miles per hour at that instant. Which one? So what they're doing here is they're breaking apart this vector into its x and y components, storing what's a vector. A vector is a quantity that has a magnitude and a direction. So 20 miles per hour east is a vector. If you're not a vector, you only have one of those things. So usually if you just say like 5 inches, that's not a vector, it's just a quantity. Okay, so for this one, they're breaking apart this vector into its I and j components, which means we have to know x and y wise how we would break this down, okay? And the way you want to do that is to treat this like a right triangle and break it to its x and y components. So I'm going to redraw this thing a little bit larger. This is going to represent north. This is our vector right here. This is 16. And this is where 30 degrees goes. All right, so this is north. I'm just blowing this up like a big right triangle right here. If this is 30, this is 60 degrees right here. And remember, our vector is our hypotenuse. So that's this side right here. So what we need to find is how to break this up into its x and y components. 30, 60, 90 triangle. You should know the pattern for that. Okay, what's opposite 30 is x. What's opposite 60 is x root 3. And what's opposite the 90-degree angle of the hypotenuse is 2x. So what we have here is that 2x is equal to 16, which means that our x value must be 8. Which means that this side here is going to be 8 units, and this side here is going to be 8 root 3 units. Okay? Last thing you have to remember, thank you, this pink is bad, is there are positives and negatives here. Okay? The x direction is going in the west, and our I was defined as going in the east. So our I direction is negative. It's going to be negative 8. So we put it in front of I like a coefficient. Negative 8i, and then our y component, which is j, is going north, which is positive, so our j value will be positive. It's going to be positive 8 root 3, plus 8 root 3 times j. Yeah, if you've never seen vectors before, this might seem a little confusing, but a lot of vectors are just based upon trigonometry of SOHCAHTOA, breaking down a right triangle into its components, finding the x and y component of a hypotenuse, things like that. Can you guys click the new messages?
We got a thing there for you. But yes, we will.
Oh, you got this set up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Are there any messages?
No, don't even worry about it, guys.
Hey, don't even worry about it.
Don't
Can
worry
you
about it.
repeat? Can you repeat? How you got?
Repeat stuff.
Oh, yes.
Repeat stuff.
Hey. Okay, so where that came from is the pattern for a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Okay, the sides are always in a very specific ratio from each other.
Yeah. Mojo, that's fine. Don't make any simple mistakes and regret that. It's not going to... Yeah, just make sure as you go through those first 25 questions like a sprint, you don't make silly and simple mistakes.
So on a...
Sorry.
No, you're fine. On a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the side length that's opposite 30, we'll call that x. The side that's the hypotenuse will always be twice that value. We'll call that 2x. And the side that's opposite 60 will always be that value times the square root of 3. Okay? With this hypotenuse of this triangle, I knew that the hypotenuse was 16, and that's our 2x value. So therefore, our x value has to be half of that, which is 8. That's where we got x is 8, so therefore the side that's opposite 30 is going to be 8. The side that's opposite 60 is 8 root 3. You just have to know 30, 60, 90 triangles, so they'll have them on like the SAT. We're not talking about the SAT, but this is a formula that you should try to commit, because otherwise you'll have to use SOHCAHTOA, and it'll take a little bit. I'm praying the last 3 questions get harder. I guess
They do get harder.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you good?
I got it.
I'm going to do Pollux.
I gotta go to that child.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Nice excuse for not cleaning up your
You know
crap.
how much I like when you clean up my stuff.
Well, you also took my rag, so...
You
Go
threw your
ahead.
rag at me.
You told me, Brennan, throw me a rag.
Throw
And
me a rag, not throw a rag at me.
Well, yeah, because I think that the grammar there might be weird. But, you know, I
But no,
did what
those are
you...
very similar things. It's a very loose translation of the same thing.
Yeah. Can you explain 43 and 44? Can you post them on the Discord? And 40. Yeah, post them on the Discord, and we will start to do those. It makes it easier for us to see the questions from here. Otherwise, we got to try to pull them up on a computer, and it's, you know, it's more difficult. It's harder to do with the screens in front of us. Okay. Pollux had a question. You guys can also see this in the Discord. And it is very relevant to what Levi had talked about earlier, which is... Right, Levi, commas. You're not on the Discord. It's free to join. It makes it easier. Levi, can you scroll down real quick?
Yes.
Okay. Just because I'm...
Can you move a little?
Just scroll. Okay. Okay, great. So, also, Pollux, it's at a weird angle, so why would you do that to me? But here we go. The The question is, his challenge initiated a review of students' rights and administrative responsibilities in public education. And they're asking, the underlined portion is review of students' rights. So at this point, they're not asking about the apostrophe, right? They have the apostrophe done correctly, and they're only asking about commas. So I'm going to write up just this part of it. Again, though, you guys should be following along in the Discord where you can see this question. But it's review of students' rights. Okay, this is the underlined portion, and you have either a comma here, and here. Hopefully this makes sense, guys, like how I'm having this written out. If it doesn't, let me know. Or nothing, no commas, or just a comma at the end. You scroll, or yeah. Actually, I think this is good enough. I have it now. So his challenge initiated a review of students' rights and administrative responsibility in public education. So after rights, the word "and" is here. So my first thought is, well, this might be a comma fanboys. However, if I read after that, administrative responsibility in public education, that is not an independent clause, so this one is not right. Next, I notice that there's a comma before. So I'm thinking, if there's only a comma here, and there's no comma afterward at the end of anywhere in the sentence, I'm looking for a dependent clause to an independent clause. His challenge initiated a review, comma. Besides looking at the end, his challenge initiated a review. That's an independent clause. So I don't like this. And after it, of students' rights and administrative responsibility, that is not an independent clause. Next we have either no commas or a non-essential. And if I look at this, it says his challenge initiated a review and administrative responsibility in public education. That could work, right? That sentence still works, but I think it's very essential to say what the review was of, because it's important to the meaning of the sentence. Right? It's a review of students' rights and a review of administrative responsibility in public education. So I don't like this. I don't want any commas. So A, B, C, D. I like C. Our mic is muted? It shouldn't be. Oh, depression bot.
Is it?
No.
Oh.
That's good. You got me. Although I wasn't too worried, because I looked down and I could see the light, and I could see the light there. But you made me check. Yeah. Good to see you. Okay, another question from JetBlue. Bob's questions. Oh, thank you. 43. Let me put up Bob. Bob 43. Okay. Bob, are you ready? Levi, serious question. Is it better with my nose being kind of nasally? Or is it worse? Bob.
Yeah, I don't think it actually helps.
But does it hurt? Either or.
It gets you closer, but...
Okay, well that means better. That means it
No,
helps.
but, like, you
Guys,
can still do
please
better
help
with
me. Okay.
Never.
Supernos. Also, welcome. Yes, thank you, Mojo Mojo. What are your questions? What do you want to know about the test? Also, guys, for those of you who don't know, we do this every week. We don't do cram sessions every week because there's not a test every week. But we do this 5 nights a week every week where we tutor for free for the SAT and ACT. And if you're curious about our credentials, look below. All right. But yeah, if you have questions, Supernos, ask us. This next question was a Bob question. Bobo, you still there? Bob Jamaro, are you still there? A local recycling center pays customers for cans. Levi, I'm going to need you to kind of pay attention on this because I can't do this while I have both of these.
Yeah.
Okay, great, Bob. And I'm also going to cut the accent out. Okay, I'm going to ignore the first part there. Please help. If you're not going to ask some questions soon, there's no reason we're not just going to let you keep spamming, bud. So they give you, for those of you who are not sure what we're doing, you can check the Discord. There's a list of items, payments, and resale price. Levi, can you keep scrolling as well?
Yes.
This is way more obnoxious than it should be. That didn't do it. It's not on the right screen. Thank you, Moss. Okay, I guess that's it. The closed box with no overlapping pieces, whose dimensions are given below. So, Brennan tries to draw a cube or a box.
You want me to do this?
No,
You gotta practice, dude.
I do need to practice this. Can you click it again?
Yes.
I could do this at one point, and then something happened. One day it all changed.
When the Fire Nation attacked?
No, it was before that. Okay, that's pretty bad, but you get what I'm talking about.
Gosh.
Hold on, no. The only thing I need to change is this. Calm down. Much better. Anyways, I don't care, Levi. I'm not an artist. I refuse to have you come up here and waste our time so you can draw this and
Does
make
that
it
make
look pretty.
sense, everybody?
Shut
I'm
up, of
gonna
course
do
it
the
is.
dashes.
Okay. We need someone to be doing this, bud. We can't have you up here doing this. Okay. The closed box with no overlapping pieces, whose dimensions are given below or right here, is made with cardboard that weighs 1 pound per square foot. So 1 pound per square foot. That might be important. If you look up above, I don't know if it is. It is. In the surface area of the box. Great. Which of the following values is closest to the amount a recycling center will pay a customer for this box? So if you're reading this, you're only looking at the payment column. Okay? The values in there are what I care about. So we know that each of these is a pound per square foot, and they will pay you a certain amount per pound. So we want to find, we know that for cardboard, yes, cardboard is 1 cent, so $0.01 per pound. Right? This is the weirdest acting class you've ever been in. Turkey Man Cometh. That's a fun name.
Turkey Man coming.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, careful for November, all right, bud? We're not acting. It's ACT and SAT, but sure. Well, yeah. I mean, Levi likes to act.
Yeah.
I think improv would be a fun thing to do. Okay. What is the value they will pay you? So we have pounds per square feet. We have dollars per pound, and we want dollars. Okay? To find this, first of all, I want to find the surface area. If you don't know how to do that, it's actually very straightforward. Levi, can you please get on the Twitch through your own computer and kick this guy? Thanks. Oh yeah, the dotted lines probably helped a lot there. We have 3 feet by 4 feet. And that's going to be this side and the far side, if you will. So that's going to be, there's 2 of those sides. And I have 4 sides that are these 4 rectangles that are 4 by 2. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. But when you take a 3D object like this, each side, to find the surface area, you're taking the area of each individual side and you're going to add them all together. So this is 12, 24, and 8 times 4 is 32. Simple maths. 656. Okay. So we have 56 feet squared of cardboard. And we know that there's $1 per pound. And it is a pound per square foot. So conveniently, this also means that we have 56 pounds of cardboard. Did I do my math right? 3 times 4 times 2 is 12 times 2 is 24. 4 times 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4 times 4 is 16, 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I think you did it wrong. Yeah, the way my math is working out seems right, but I don't know if the question is asking that. So, weighs 1 pound per square foot, and it's, yeah, which of the following values is closest to the amount closest to the amount the recycling center will pay a customer for this box? It's a payment, so I want this right here. Can you scroll down, Levi? The answer should be A. Can bottle cardboard. Payments to customers and bottles of cardboard and these items. The closed box with no overlapping pieces, whose dimensions are given. If it's a box and you're finding the surface area, I found the surface area of 56 feet. They're telling you that they will pay $1 per pound of whatever this is. Levi, you scroll down por favor. 2 times 4. You have the wrong sides. That's possible. Oh yeah, I want 3 by 2, not 3 by 4. Thank you. There it is.
Blast.
Well, I mean, hey, I double checked and you looked at it.
I was trying to at the end.
3 by 2, thank you, and then 4 by 2 as well. Yeah. No. Levi, I trusted you.
What?
It's not a cube, and I was thinking it was a cube. So you have 3 by 2. Yeah, okay, Levi, you should have drawn it. I'm sorry. You have a 3 by 4 on top and bottom. You have a 3 by 2 here, and you have a 4 by 2 on either side there. Okay. 12, 24. There's my 24. 6, 12, and 8, 16. 40, 52. 3 by 2 is 1, 2. 3 by 2 is 6, 12. 4 by 2, 8, and 8 is 16. And then 3 by 4 is 12 times 2 is 24. 30, 40, 52. Yeah. Levi, can you continue to scroll? Yeah, no. It took me a minute. No, I thought it was a cube, even though I wrote the dimensions here. So, don't do what I do and rush through it. Read it carefully. So, we have this amount. We have a penny per pound. Because it's a very nice ratio of 1 pound per foot squared, it's 52 pounds. 52 pounds multiplied by $0.01 per pound is going to give you 52 cents, which is ED, which is D. Oof. I really want to walk around the front of the camera real quick, Levi.
Why?
Because you left the heat on for a while, and it's hot down here. The customer does pay that, but they're saying how much will the plant pay the customer? Will pay a customer for this. Not will a customer pay. Are you good, Levi?
Yep.
Okay. I'll keep doing this, I guess.
Oh, that. Sorry, I just...
Have any tips on what? On timing for math. I would say you want to make sure that as you do the test, you want to do the ones you can do correctly first. You don't want to rush through unless you're very, very confident, but even then, rushing is the word I would say to not do. You don't want to rush through the test, right? You want to be able to make sure you can answer the first 30 correctly and then move on. Something you can do about, what question would that be? About 35 to 45, or 30 to 45 really, are going to be much more difficult than the first 30. And so what you might do is skip those and go to the last 15, because as you maybe know, it gets more difficult as you move forward in the test. However, the last 10 to 15 questions tend to cover topics that are more esoteric. It is, but topics that aren't as common. Something that you may or may not have learned in school, or you're only going to learn in the, edge cases of some of your math classes. Yeah, we can talk about the essay. So what I would do is skim those 15 and see if there's any topics you're comfortable with, and then answer those. And if not, then you kind of go back and pick and choose questions you're comfortable with, saving the ones you're not as comfortable with for last. Timing on the math is just a matter of practicing them enough to where you're comfortable with any question that comes up, so that you have a method to answer all of them.
Yeah, timing on the math, something that will help you a little bit is going to be recognizing what you're supposed to be doing on the questions. Because a lot of the time you know the math, they don't tell you to do that math specifically. So what you can do there is it's about recognizing, oh, I see exponents here. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to call the, all the exponent rules I know to the front of my mind because that's what's going on. You're not going to just start throwing trig at it. That doesn't make any sense. So that can help a little bit. So I want to talk about the essay a little bit. Who asked about the essay? Mojo, there you go. Okay, so the essay is interesting, sort of. It's a little bit misleading. If you have any specific questions, let me know about that. But what they do is they give you some starting points, which is nice. Let's see. Oh. So they give you those three, what are they called? Viewpoints, right? So you have viewpoint 1, and 2, and 3. And then they say, give us an essay and incorporate the viewpoints, right? So that's the main thing, is you need to incorporate them. You don't need to agree with all of them. You don't need to agree with any of them. You can do whatever you want here. But they're going to give you that topic, right? They're going to give you the topic. They'll give you a little blurb to explain it a little bit. They'll give you 3 viewpoints around that topic. These 3 viewpoints may be in line with each other. Some of them might be in line with each other. Some of them might be totally at odds with each other. What you need to do is come up with your own. Or you don't have to come up with your own, but you have to decide on which one you want to argue. It doesn't have to be one of those. You can come up with an idea yourself, or you could take viewpoint 3, and that's more or less your thesis. That's what you're arguing. So, how to get a 10 plus. We will get there in a second. Also for math, I just... Yeah, Mojo, if you want to go fast at the start of math, that's great if you're not getting things wrong because you're going quickly. Going quickly is not the same thing as rushing. If you are working methodically and quickly, that's fine. Okay. So you need to incorporate all of those things. To get a 10, the main thing is going to be your structure of your essay needs to be really solid, and you always need to be talking about your thesis. That's what you're always going back to. So you don't need to have a 5-paragraph essay. They don't require that because that's not what all schools teach. I learned a 5-paragraph essay. It doesn't really matter. You definitely should lead with your thesis. So that's what's going to be here. So you're going to have your intro. That will include your thesis. That's really the only really important thing about your intro. And then you're going to have your support. You can incorporate these viewpoints however you'd like. So that means that if your thesis says that, oh gosh, I was thinking about this. What was the one I used last time? Do you remember the essay?
For...
Like just an essay topic?
No.
Okay, whatever.
Sorry.
I think one of the practice tests talks about music and how music, the general idea of the topic was music is free and widely accessible. And is that good? And so you can say, well, my thesis is that it's good. Okay, so that's your thesis. And then viewpoint 1 says it's great because people can hear music more. And number 2 says it's bad for the artists because they don't get to make money. And I don't know what number 3 says. So what you would say is, I think it's good. And then you say, well, my first support is going to be that it allows people more access to music, which is unarguably a good thing because people get to listen to whatever music they want. That's a good thing. That's what you're going to say here. I wouldn't recommend saying viewpoint 1 says this. That's not a good way to write an essay. They say viewpoint 1 to categorize these things. They don't want you to reference those exact words in your essay. So take what the viewpoint actually is and incorporate it. That's where this word comes from. Then you can say with viewpoint 2, which goes against it, right? It says that the artists don't make any money. But you're trying to say that this is a good thing, that it's free and widely accessible. So you say, some people say that artists can't make a lot of money, but they can actually make a lot of money from touring, for example, because they get more recognition and therefore their tours are more successful. Something like that. It doesn't have to be the perfect argument necessarily, but they want to see that you can take a viewpoint that maybe is against yours and then refute it. So that's how you should deal with arguments or viewpoints that are at odds with whatever your thesis may be. Now, your thesis should not be music being widely accessible is good. And this is where that 10 comes in, the 10 plus score on this. Don't say things like good. You need to qualify where you are in the world. So that's what your intro is for. You're going to funnel down to your thesis, which is music being free and widely accessible is productive for Americans, whatever context they gave you. Basically, it's overall a boon for society, especially young people, something like that. And then you support those things every single time. So you have support A, you have support B, and maybe you only have 2, maybe you have 4. It doesn't really matter. These always need to return to here. So this is a very logical thing. You don't have to make this flowery thing because you don't have any time. They're not looking for you to have a flowery term paper right now. What they want is to see if you can argue a point. So what that will look like, thank you. Yeah, you can, oh, okay. I was saying yeah before I got to the end of that sentence. I wouldn't recommend making up facts because the readers don't know if they're true or not. So they're going to assume that 1, you're making them up, or 2, they just don't care. So you need to be able to argue a point in some way. They don't expect you to have the facts on these things. They give you whatever the topics that they give you are things that you can understand readily. So you don't have to have statistics or anything like that. So I don't think that will help you get a 9. So don't make up facts. That is a sure way. It's not a sure way. It's a possible way to get a 9. It's a possible way to get 5 because they say, well, you can't argue because you lied because maybe they know. Also, I just the last thing I want to do is reiterate that the way to get that 10 plus is to have a very strong structure, and all of your support has to always be very on topic with your thesis, and you have to put it in context. It has to make sense with regards to your intro, and then your conclusion can kind of be whatever it is. It just restate stuff. They don't care about the conclusion. It doesn't have to be this big flowery thing. Okay.
I got the next one.
This is Bob that you're about to do? Okay,
Bob
cool.
with the next one, yep.
Lovely.
All right.
If you would, Mojo, if you would like to talk about the
Weather.
you know, or the weather, that's fine too. But if you would like to talk about a specific one or see how I would maybe organize a possible essay, I'm not going to write one, but if you post a screenshot of one of the prompts, I'm happy to go through it a little bit. I'm done.
Okay. Bobo has another question. Same topic. This one's a little bit more involved, or same question stretch. Right? They're still talking about the initial items, the payments, and the resale price. Bobo, you still there? I assume so. I'm going to go ahead and start hopping into this. So they say that the cost of processing cans, here we go, cans, botellas, bottles, it's a good song, don't judge, is 3 cents per can and 2 cents per bottle. Oh, man. All right. After paying the processing cost and the payment to the customers, all right, what is the recycling center's profit for a resale of 200 cans and 300 bottles? Now, to do this differently than I did for the other one, I had some water, so I'm not as tired. There you go. There's a couple things you need to remember. All right. There is the payment they pay to the customer, and there's the resale price they get when they sell this back to some company. So for cans and bottles, right, they are paying 5 cents per can and 10 cents per bottle. We'll keep it consistent. Same thing over here for resale. They're reselling them for 15 cents. And they're reselling these for, I believe, 18. Yes. So there's a couple things we need to take into account here. All right. The cans end up being worth 15 cents. So that is the end, right? So cans are 15 cents. But for each can, there's a cost. So we're going to subtract the 0.05 cents for processing, or the payment. And then I'm going to subtract, and is this large enough? Maybe not. The 3 cents for the processing. What we end up with is a 7-cent profit. You might call it a profit margin, Levi. But we're not teaching econ, and I didn't like it much when I took it.
Very nice.
Okay. Bob, so far, are you following? So far, is this what you did? Is it not? Why not? We're going to follow the same thing for the bottles here. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit quicker here. I'm not going to write this all out, but the resale is 18, so 0.18. You're subtracting the, what I have first, payment, which is 10 cents, and you're subtracting the processing, which is 2 cents. All right, so you end up with a 6-cent profit. So these are what we care about. Now we know for every can, I make 7 cents. For every bottle, I make 6 cents. 6 cents. Anyway, 6 pence none the richer? Okay. Bands. So what I wanted is 200. Is that showing up? Oh my gosh. That died on me immediately. 200 this way? Nope. All right. We're going to just use a different color here. Well, I don't know what's going on with it. It was working really well, and then, I don't know. So, 200 cans times 0.06 plus, all right, our 300 bottles times 0.0, whoops, I did this backwards, 6. The 7 is up top. We're just going to multiply those. Whoops. That's just 14. And this is going to be, what is that, 18? Double check. Yeah. And then you get 2, 3. Clear as mud. My goodness, these markers are dying. 32, which I'm not sure off the top of my head which answer choice that is. Yeah, Mojo, I think it is F. Yes. Any questions on that, let me know. Yeah, you could have done this a much slower way, but also just as correct, where you say, okay, I have cans and I pay 300 for each one, so that's 200 times 3 cents. Boom, $6. So then I pay 5 cents for every 200, so that's $10. Boom, and then I make 15, I make $30, and then I take 30 minus, whatever, and you end up with 14, 6 and 10, and then you do the same thing for this, but I like to get rid of all the small stuff first so that I can then make it as simple as possible at the end. Bobo, done. All right, any more questions?
None as of now.
All right, well, again, guys, we do this not just before the tests, or I guess in theory we always do it before the test. We just are constantly doing it, right?
Yes.
We do this 5 nights a week, normally Sunday to Thursday. We're doing it tonight and tomorrow night as well. Today is only Thursday. Wow. We're doing it tomorrow night as well. I wish you found... Well, you know what? If you feel that way, spread us like the plague so that other people don't have to feel that way.
We were looking for you.
Specifically
Where have you been?
We knew you needed this. And I swear, when I'm not sick and running on like 4 hours of sleep, I don't make as many simple mistakes. Speaking of which, I forgot to buy orange juice today, so I'm just a deadbeat.
Very sad.
Mm.
Okay, also, we are not winding down now. We
have an
until
extra
10:30.
hour. So, ask your questions.
Lots more questions, please, if you would like.
You'll get 1 point. We need to have rewards for these people for watching. At the cost of our, shame. Embarrassing things for us.
Like when you chug a gallon of milk?
That wasn't nearly a gallon.
No, of course not.
I've tried that before. I got surprisingly close, considering I had a buffet earlier in the day.
It's not even that. It's just like your stomach's not going to like that much milk.
No, but it negates all the stomach acid, so it's not a bad feeling. It's just like a physical pressure thing. Excuse me.
Yeah, we can. Number 49. Where
Is that on the test they posted? If so, can you please throw that in our Discord? In Mojo Mojo, I know you're on our Discord.
the test? Oh, in the description.
Yeah, we pulled it
Lovely.
up.
Yeah.
Let me just go snag this. 49?
49.
Oh no.
Number 49.
This will lag a little bit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it might be lagging. Laggity. Oh, yes, I love this one.
This
Also,
one's
can you
fun.
scroll down when you get the chance? Can you make it full screen and scroll? Thank you.
Yeah.
Why purple? Why purple? What are we talking, Fluffy? Our shirts?
They're not purple, they're blue.
Yeah, I don't know where purple's coming from, to be honest.
It does look a little blue in this haze, but it is a very blue shirt.
It's blue to us, so just look through our eyes, okay? Number 49. The shaded region in the graph below represents the solution set to which of... Oh, okay, so first of all...
Put Bob 49 as well.
Is this one shaded in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't really show up, so I'm going to shade it for us.
Yeah.
So that's where it's shaded.
In the queue, can you put Bobo 49? Or just Bob 49?
Is that just what we're doing right now? That's all?
No, that's the next. That's on the test he had posted. So
Oh, got it. Okay. And
it's
scroll...
just convenient.
Yes. And can you scroll down again?
Oh, hey, Mr. Big Line.
Okay. Number
Say
49. This shaded region is the solution set for... Or this is the solution set for that shaded region. Okay? Now, let's see what we need to do here. We have dotted lines, so that means that everything is going to be less than or greater than. You won't have any equals to, equals signs, but there is no equals here, so that doesn't help us at all, unfortunately. Now, they gave us the equation of both of these functions, or both of these graphs here. We have the graph of y equals negative x plus 2. That seems easy enough. And we are below that. So that'll help. There are a couple ways to do this. There are some extremely simple ways to do this.
Do it.
So I'll do both of them, because they're both very quick. If you have y, and then you're going to have your little comparator here, so less than, greater than, whatever, equals 2, and then you have your other part over here. All you need to do is whatever this sign is...
Thanks, Mojo.
Thank you, Mojo. Whatever this sign is, you take your pencil or your, neon marker, you put it on the line that is this graph, and then you say, am I going below or above? Well, this is below the line, so I'm going to go down. And if you go down, that means less than.
Boom.
That's it.
Roasted.
So you can go the other direction too. If this is what you have and you need to graph this, you graph your line y equals negative x plus 2 right here, and you take this and you go down, so that means you're shading everything here. Now, the reason why the shading is only in this little portion is because we have a system of inequalities here. The first one means that we are shading everything below this line here, but we also have the issue of the circle. So with the circle, it's the same deal. They gave us an equals sign here because that's the line itself. Can you scroll down again?
That was me, don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. Lovely. Lovely.
Just making sure they know their apostrophes.
So circles are the same thing. If you have a less than sign, actually, this is different. So the less than sign is going to have to do with the radius. Yep. So it would really help to know how to use the equation of a circle here. So the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. If you don't know what that is, we can put that in the queue if you want to talk about the equation of a circle for graphing it. But if your sign here is less than, then you're going to put your marker on the line that you have, and then you're going to draw inwards if it's less than. So here would be going in like that. So you are now, if the orange is going to be the shading for the normal function here, this line x or y equals negative x plus 2, you're shading everything here. And wow, that just didn't show up.
That's good. You can see
there you go.
Enough, yeah.
Shading everything there. And then the circle is going to be shading everything inside the circle. So the overlap is going to be just that part. ACT, I don't think, it doesn't give you any equations at the beginning, but I have, the questions I've seen on cones, they will give you the formula for finding the area, the volume of a cone.
You can't.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah, it's 1/3 pi r squared h, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a right
So,
cone, but that's the only cone.
a right, they
That's
will
the only
not.
one they're
Yeah,
gonna do.
they're not going to mess with anything else. What this all means is that we want the y instead of equals. We want y is less than. So here that would be A works, so that's good. B doesn't work because we have y is greater than, so let's cross that out. We have no C.
No,
Sorry.
that's good. There you go.
And then we like D, and E is weird.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave that alone. And then we also have the circle, which is less than as well. So we have less than, so that's nice. Less than, that's nice, but it's already wrong. That's wrong too. This D is greater than, so we don't like D.
Higher. There it is.
And then E is kind of weird. So actually, to deal with E, there are a couple ways. This is also another simple way. I think it makes the most logical sense. We are trying to find the area, we're trying to find the system of inequalities that is expressed by this shaded region right in here. Which means that any point we choose that is in that shaded region has to satisfy the system of inequalities. Isn't E wrong because there's no circle? Yeah, that's a good reason too. Yeah, didn't even think of that. I was focused on other stuff. Yes, because there's no x squared and y squared. These are actually, these are just
X equals
interesting.
Y equals.
Yeah, these are horizontal and vertical lines.
There it is.
So none of that works anyway. The other way is to just take a point that's in the shaded region and see if it satisfies your inequalities. And that's pretty simple too, because what is a really nice point inside this shaded region? It's the origin, so 0, 0. So if you take this point 0, 0 and you plug it into all of these systems of inequalities, it's only going to work for one of them. And that's your answer. Okay,
All right, my turn.
so that's 49.
Let me.
Any other questions?
No.
Oh, we don't have this 49, right?
No, we don't.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Okie dokie.
All right, Bobo, I got you.
There may have been a question. Uh-oh.
What?
That just happened.
Oh man.
Hey, maybe that'll fix it. Who knows?
All right, hold on. Let me finagle this. Oh no, white screen of death. Oh wait, here we go.
Okay, may have missed anything that was just said in the last 5 seconds.
No, they just said thanks.
Okay,
All right.
very good.
So, Mojo, thank you for posting. Oh, there's another. No. It's not Twitch chat. It's not Twitch chat. We're using Restream so we can stream this to Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. And it normally isn't an issue. And for some reason tonight it is.
Last night it was an issue as well.
Then maybe it's how we messed up with YouTube. Anyway, Mojo posted a question for Bobo.
Woo!
All right, hold on. Wow. Okay, guys.
Oh.
For all of you here who saw me
Oh.
horribly try to draw a cube
Wow.
/ rectangular prism, appreciate this.
Howdy you. Very nice.
Appreciate this, because it's not going to happen often. Okay, moving in. Wow. Oh my. Okay, we have video of this. It's fine. So the question is actually, come on, Brennan, can you do it? Nope, he can't. Okay. Thank you, guys. But more or less, you have two circles here. One is just way better than the other. We're not going to talk about it. You have that the diameter of the larger circle is 12 centimeters. Okay, they actually do give units. And they want you to have a ratio between is it large to small, small to large? I guess it doesn't matter. It depends on how they ask it. Small to large. Small area, large area. Or the area of the smaller circle to the area of the larger circle. Now, I've seen these enough that I can tell you the answer, but that's not fun. Let's talk about how we can solve for this. What is the area of a circle? Well, if you're asking Brady, it is pi r squarea for area.
Yay.
Yeah, you know, pi r squared. Well, what is r for O? All right, r equals 12 divided by 2, because that's the diameter, so we want 6. And if we think about it, 6 is the diameter of this circle from T to O. meaning the radius is only going to be 3. So we have the small, so area of the small is going to be equal to 3 squared times pi. The area of the large is going to be equal to 6 squared times pi. Whatever. Are you guys using the same test for tomorrow's session? The one down below, yes. This one is one that someone just posted and asked questions about, and you guys are very welcome to do that. But we only have a number of tests we can pull up, and only the one we have below is the one we're pulling up tomorrow. Science tips.
Nice.
Science strats. Like stratospheres. I'm going to take the one down below. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want, hey, Mojo, is that the 15? Oh, no, we're doing 74 is the one we have on our website, isn't it? 74 FPRE is the one we have.
Website?
Nerdish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right, yeah, do that then. Never mind. We don't have the 74 FPRE to pull up. Anyway, diatribe over. So, 3 squared pi, so the area of the small is going to be equal to 9 pi. The area of the large is going to be equal to, what is that, 36 pi. And then we want to find the ratio between the two. Well, let's take them and find it, right? It's given to us in fraction form. So, over 36 pi. I'm going to cancel those pi's, and then I have 9 over 36, which is going to simplify to 1 over 4. Now, the reason this is because it's talking about the relationship between these two circles, but really the only thing you're worried about is this r squared. All right, if I have a value here, it's going to be squared. So whatever the relationship is between these two, that value is being squared. So the relationship between the radius of the smaller circle and the radius of the larger circle is a 1 to 2, right? A 1 to 2 ratio for radii. So now I square that ratio to equal the ratio of the areas. Mind blown. That blue works sometimes and not all the time. Does that make sense? Bob. It was Bob. Mojo posted it, but Bob asked it. Let me know, Bob. Good. Great. Moving on. Science strats. Heck yeah. Who asked that? Improbable events. What do you do for the science section? You can go ahead and answer that while I go ahead and tell you things you might already know. But you don't, and I had a very tough argument with Plaster Hippie the other day about this. You can ask them. You don't want to read the passage. All right? You just don't want to do it. It's a waste of time. Save yourself some pain and suffering. You know, buy the Spark Notes. No, just don't read it at all. Mojo posted another question in the Discord. Let's put that in the queue.
Oh, I love this one. I'm going to do it.
Dang it. Mojo, but you're not Jojo. Got it. Who asked that? Improbable events. So you don't want to read, just seems like a ton of info for no reason. It is. It is. So you don't want to read it. All right? You want to go straight to the questions. Levi,
Yes.
do you mind pulling up the science section real quick?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so I'll show you what you should do. Ready for this? With the snap of my fingers,
Wait,
I'm
don't
waiting
snap
for
yet.
Levi to figure out that the mouse needs to go left a lot. Okay, with a snap of my fingers, something. Okay, it's there. Hey, Bob, there it is. So go ahead and skim through. Let's get to the science.
Oh, yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Here, I'll do this over here. And go ahead and get to the questions. Thanks. Can you make it larger?
Yes.
Okay. It does tend to get harder for some of these. There's no doubt there. Let's stand over here real quick. But how I want to approach this improbable events is I'm going straight here. So in which of the studies, 1 and 2, let me grab my marker real quick. So which of these studies 1 and 2, that is key information. Studies 1 and 2, did some of the fruit flies, okay, we're talking about fruit flies. Don't know what we're talking about, but I know there's some fruit flies lived for more than 75 days. And what were they fed? Okay? That's all I care about. So now, what I'm going to do, Levi, can you hop back? I'm going to look for, actually, go back for just a half second. So I know right now, I'm looking at studies 1 and 2. It's going to be about fruit flies living for 75 days. And it's going to be about what they're fed, but we can just do a couple of these at a time. So studies 1 and 2, fruit flies, and their lifespan. Well, conveniently, if you glance at this, we have days here, and we have...
Oh, this is study 1 and 2.
Study 1 and 2, yes. Right. So study 1 has this, study 2 has figure 2. So I'm going to look and it says, okay, there's days here, there's days there. Great. That's probably what they're talking about. Now, up here it talks about the fruit flies that determined every 5 days for 75 days, the percent of them alive, meaning some of them were not. This is now what I want to look at, okay? The number that were alive, the percent that were alive, there's 0% at 75 here. But if I go over here, there are some alive at 75 for one of these graphs. Now, I know that it's going to be figure 2. And then I want this graph right here. So it's like open dot circle, which looks like 5% SY medium. I don't know what that means. I really don't care. Levi, can you hop across? What I do know is this is saying study 1 or study 2. So I know it's study 2, so cross these off. And then I just said it's 5% SY medium. Cool, C. I don't know or understand anything that I just read. And I don't care. That's not what they're asking of you. They're not asking you to understand this. It's dense, and it's about things you shouldn't have prior knowledge of. So you just want to follow the clues, find the answer, and move on. Now, you were saying, Bob was saying some of the later ones tend to be a little more difficult. Well, let's look at 7. The results for which 2 tubes should be compared to determine how a reduced calorie diet affects the lifespan and the absence of live yeast and additional odors from live yeast. Again, not a clue, but we're talking about tubes, okay? So I'm looking for tubes. For sure, that's something that seems like they expect me to know what tubes are. Should use to determine the amount of reduced calorie diet. So maybe I'm worried about reduced calories. And this is kind of overlapping here, so sorry there. Lifespan. So does it affect how long they live or die, right? For live yeast. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, right? Let me get rid of this real quick. So that this is not in the way. This one will clean that a little better. Still got some water on it. Okay, Levi, can you switch this real quick? So now I'm looking for tubes. I don't see anything here about that. Let's read this. And we're talking about, oh, okay, well, I just glanced at study 1 and study 2, and they both talk about these tubes, right? So tubes 1 through 3 have a certain amount of yeast in tubes 4 to 6, right? Now, what did we say we're worried about? The yeast, right, and the lifespan. Levi, go back real quick. And then click enter. Thank you. So which of these tubes should be compared to determine how a reduced calorie diet affects the lifespan in the absence of live yeast? So there's no yeast, all right? And we want a reduced calorie diet. So Levi, sorry, can you go back up? And then, thank you. So reduced calorie, no live yeast. Great. Study 1, we're talking about no additional substance. Additional odors from yeast were added to tube 2, and live yeast was added to tube 3. Okay. Not sure if it's what I want. Let's look at study 2. I'm skimming here. You're good, Leah, sorry. A medium diet with 5% sugar and 5% killed yeast. So right here I already know it's not live yeast, and over here it's also killed yeast, but it's a 15% sugar. And that makes me think that it's going to be, it's more calories than the 5% sugar. All right. So no additional substance was added to 4. Additional odors from live yeast were added to 5, and live yeast was added to tube 6. So I don't want live yeast, right? Levi, go back for me.
Yes.
Back and down.
Did you see the message in Discord? Right?
Not directly the data.
Yeah. Those 2 things.
I think Bob means the more interpretive questions. Well, Bob will let me know, because I can skip around to something else if this isn't helping. So the results of yes, skip this. I know you did. But Bob didn't say anything. Your interpretation and my interpretation. You might have been way more correct. Levi, can you scroll?
Critical thinking ones there, more like reasoning questions. Exactly.
Can you scroll so I can read it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Thank you. What about the critical thinking ones? They're more like reasoning. I also have a science passage. It's going to be a little more difficult if you're not using one of the science passages we have, Bob, just because there's a lot of bouncing back and forth, and being able to point at where we're going makes it a lot easier. But okay, got it from the graph reading questions. What about the critical thinking ones? There are more reasoning questions without graphs. No, that's fine. It makes it easier for us to answer it, so it's not more abstract. But Bob, yeah, if this isn't what you're wanting, then we will go and do, or no, improbable events asks these. Okay, then we will just skip this. I don't need to waste your time. You're comfortable with this.
32.
Hold on. Or are you pulling up a question that is?
Yeah, they said 32 on our test.
Yeah, 32.
Hop to that one.
Okay. Student claimed that solutions 3 has a pH of 7.3. Are the results of experiment 1 to 3 consistent with this claim? I would say that this is still going to be a solutions thing, but we can figure this out. So solution 3 is what we care about. A pH of 7.3, and the results of experiment 1 through 3. So with these types of questions specifically, they have no, right? No, yes, and yes. You're going to have some of these be contradictory, most likely. Right? So did student claim that solution 3 has a pH of 7.3? Well, you're going to be able to prove that it's wrong or right with some of these, but you don't necessarily want to worry about the yes or no right now. I like to worry about the because. Are you okay?
Yeah, something interesting is happening. It's fine.
Okay. Can you go back up to the graphs? So solution 3, pH of 7.3, experiments 1 to 3. So solution 3. Well, where is solution 3, right? We have to locate this. Again, solution 3, I see color in solution 3 right there. Okay? And they're saying that the pH is 7.3. Okay? I know that they're talking about pH here and here. It looks like table 1 to table 2 kind of continues. You go 0 through 7 and then 8 through 14. I feel like a weatherman when I walk while doing that. That kind of felt cool. It's the little things in life, guys. All right. So let me go ahead and now remove this so it's kind of out of the way. We know what we're looking for. So a pH of 7.3. Well, let's look at it. Okay? So we have, and I have to stand over here so the screen isn't in the way. Solution 3. So metanil yellow. That's the first thing. I want to look at it. It is still yellow. So if I look at this, metanil yellow is red, orange, yellow from everything from 3 to 14. So yeah, it could be 7, but I don't know for sure, right? Because it could also be 3 to 14. So then I move down. So what about my, is that resorcin? Resorption?
Resorption.
All right, resorption blue. It says red. Well, let's look at resorption blue. Red, purple, blue. Blue at 7. It's red over there. It doesn't look like it's going to be 7.3. Right? Because it's red, meaning it has to be from 0 to 4. Does that make sense, right? This is a difficult thing because you're trying to read multiple graphs and put them together and like be able to align how they go together. So, curcumin?
You want the question?
Curcumin? No, curcumin? Whatever that is. No, you're good, you're good. Curcumin, however you want to pronounce it. Can you scroll down for me real quick, though? I appreciate you.
What?
No. Can you go back on that and scroll down on the chat? Sorry, I should have been more clear.
Yes.
Levi, can you go back on the thing, hit enter.
Is what you want?
Hit enter.
You said hit enter. I did.
Then my bad. Thank you. Okay, resorption blue is red for 7 to 14. Resorption blue is B, blue, for 7 to 14. And here, yes, it's supposed to be red. That means it's not 7.3. Yeah. So we know that it's no. And now I'm going to let you guys figure that out. So we know that it's no. But then let's go ahead and look at the y's. Now you can change this for me, right? So enter, I think, and then down. Or no, that's it. That's it. Thank you. No. Is it? Yes. 32. So it's no, right? We said that it's not 7.3. It can't be, and Resource in Blue proved that. So let's say, nope, neither of those. But now, is it because the solution of Resource in Blue was red, or is it because Metanil Yellow was yellow? Well, conveniently, those were the two I looked at first. Resource in Yellow was yellow, but like I said, that's contradictory. Excuse me. If we go back, it's yellow from 3 to 14, which means at 7 it would be yellow. So we can't say no because it's true. That's ridiculous. Lots of words came to my mind there, but I'm going to choose that one. It's foolish, right? We're left with G, which says no because Resource in Blue is red. Something you could have done here as well, which I didn't do during this, is read the questions or read the answer choices. Right? They say Metanil Yellow, Resource in Blue, Metanil Yellow, Resource in Blue. Those are the only two I should look at. So if I go back real quickly, the only two I should look at are Metanil Yellow, Resource in Blue. They conveniently were the first two, but that is a strategy you can use when going through these. Improbable events, does that help? Yay or nay? Also, Mojo put it. You got that one?
Yeah, that's the math one I'm pumped about.
All right, I am gonna go ahead and turn the overlay off.
Oh yes, thank you.
Leaving that with you. Can you DM us a science passage? I mean, you can still put it in the Discord. We don't like to answer questions through DMs because then only one person is getting the help, and it's a lot less effective than something where it's.
But yeah, put it in the Discord, and maybe we
Discord.
won't answer it on stream because it might be really pretty useless on stream to not have a science passage up. But we can answer it in the actual Discord. You couldn't put it in general, or I think we have a science channel as well.
Yeah.
The invite. I don't have the invite to your Discord.
Type exclamation point Discord.
Plaster Hippie's got it. Thank you, Plaster Hippie. Oh wait, what am I doing? Okay, Mojo, you and I are gonna really enjoy this question.
That's what you think.
There we go. I think this question is dope. Because it is. Alright, so this is number 41. This is in the Discord. I think it's the most recent one. So we have A and B are real. Are real numbers. We also have that the statement A minus B minus 1, the absolute value of this whole thing, is greater than 0. Okay. That's kind of obvious. So that's interesting. Which cannot be true? Okay, so we're trying to see which of these cannot be true. So we have A is A minus B is less than 1. B is A minus B is equal to 1. Oh, now I get it. Okay. C, A is less than 1. B is greater than 0. Oy, oy, oy. A is less than 1. B equals 0. And A is less than 0. B is greater than 0. Okay. Who asked this? Mojo. Mojo, you here? You seem to be pretty here. You know the answer, you just don't know how to get there or how to solve similar equations. Got it. Okay. This is... You don't necessarily always have to know about solving. It's about fully understanding the conceptual, underlying conceptual concepts to these things. So this is absolute value. And what I got confused about when I was just writing this down was that we have the absolute value of something is greater than 0. Well, yeah, I mean, absolute value is always... Absolute value can't be negative, right? So if the absolute value of any, if you take the absolute value of anything, it's going to be not negative. But it doesn't have to be positive, right? It can be greater than or equal to 0. But we're saying that for this to be true, we know this is true, and we're trying to find one of these that can't be true if this is true. Which means that we're losing this little equals sign here, if that makes sense. We're saying that one of these will lead to that thing being equal to 0. Does that make sense? Because if this happens, then this isn't true. Because this will never actually be less than 0. You can't take the absolute value of something and that answer be negative. So we need to get a minus b. To get this, the absolute value doesn't matter anymore. So we just have a minus b minus 1. Can you scroll down, Brendan?
Yes, I can.
Equals 0. And now we figure out which of these does that. So let's, it looks like if we add 1 to this side, maybe. If we add 1, we get equals 1. So now we have a minus b equals 1. And these are all and in here. So these are both true. We're saying both of these are true. So if we want a minus b equaling 1, that's not helping.
Which one? Which A, B, C, or D? Which one? E?
No, I'm saying a minus b equals 1. Oh, that's because I wrote this wrong. That's why. Yep, that explains that. I was really worried. Yeah, so this is... Oh, gosh. B is going to be the answer. So these are more... You can think about them as logic questions. It's not necessarily about solving equation type of things. It's not just doing rote memorization type of muscle memory math. It's you see absolute value here and inequalities. That's where you need to put your brain. And you need to think, okay, what do I know about absolute value? And they're testing you on the basics. They're not testing you on any crazy esoteric ideas about absolute value. You know what it means. And that's exactly what they're testing you on. It's just not readily apparent. What should be apparent is you should be recognizing absolute value means something to do with greater than or equal to 0. But we're saying that we're greater than 0. So the only thing we're allowed to create to make a problem is to make a minus b minus 1 equal to 0. It's hard. This is not easy. That's why this is number whatever it was. 51, maybe? Not sure. These are difficult. So with this type of question, there's going to be, maybe you can do something with this. What this allows you to do, right, with absolute values, is you can say, well, you have a minus b minus 1 is greater than 0. It also gives you that a minus b minus 1 is less than negative 0, which doesn't really make sense. So I wouldn't go about it this way. I would go about it with you got to identify what the mathematical ideas are that they're testing you on, and then throw that stuff at it. Does that help, Mojo? It's very hard to, beyond that, it's hard to generalize this type of question because it's asking about your very deep conceptual understanding of a single topic, which in this case is absolute value. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, here.
It's hard. I got it, yeah.
Sure.
I want to comment more on a science thing they asked about on Discord.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to erase this. Do you need the overlay or no?
No. Bob, I think you're dragging in the Discord, but you'd asked some more questions about, I stood up too quick, about reading strategies on the passage. You're good. Something, it doesn't matter if your name's different, that's fine. I'm just making sure I'm still talking to you. No, really, I'm talking to everyone. When you are going through the science passages, right, it's very, to some extent, it's common knowledge that you shouldn't read it, right? If you talk to people who have studied for the test, that's one of the first things anyone tells you because it's the most useful. However, if there are words you do not know in the question, there is one of two things. There's only one of two things about that. It is either defined in the passage, right, one of the studies or the little prelude before that, whatever, or it is asking you to know it beforehand. Like when we went through the example earlier, it was talking about tubes for the fruit flies. I had no clue what they were talking about, and so I circled that and I said, I don't know what this word is referring to. And then it happened to be in the first sentence for both studies. So that's just another thing. I know you're asking about strategies for the passages. That's another thing to kind of look for when you're going through the questions, is that if there's a vocab word you don't know, skim to try to find it in the passage, right? Or if you can't find it, it's not in the passage anywhere, it's an outside knowledge question.
Make it up.
Yeah, and then you just give it your best guess.
Don't make it up. Guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you give it your best guess, and you try to eliminate other things by the information given, but you're limited by your outside knowledge. Now, there's probably 1 to 2 of those questions per passage, which ends up being, maybe 6 to 10, 5 to 10, kind of. Most of them are pretty straightforward, though. Don't let that scare you. They might be about gravity, right? That's still technically an outside knowledge question, right? It might be about a solid liquid and a gas, which a lot of those should be pretty straightforward to you, right? Like a solid is going to be pretty solid. A gas is going to be not so solid. And a liquid is going to be somewhere in between. Am I right? But
we talked a bunch with, I think it was Bob last night, about science section.
Perfect.
With the outside knowledge and stuff. Yeah, Brendan did exactly what we talked about yesterday.
Maybe that was impossible.
Even on the hardest one that he did, he defined everything.
Did you say Brendan?
Did I?
I don't know. I thought you might have said Brendan. But Brady.
No. I meant you.
Oh, tonight.
Yeah, tonight you're doing what we talked about.
Sorry,
night.
I thought you were talking about last night. I'm like, I wasn't here, bud. I was wrong.
You were here.
I was wrong.
No,
I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
No.
Yeah, no, we know I wasn't. All
right. Brendan defined his terms, and then he went and tried to build paths to things, and there were some dead ends, and then he found those and was able to make the jumps that he needed to make.
Leaps and
it is about practice. It is, if the science section is hard, those harder questions are not just going to be like, oh, there's a thing to do here. It's still the same exact approach. You just got to get better at it, which is practice. You got a little time.
All right. So
Brady had put a countdown timer over there in the overlay.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, 1, not everybody's taking it at the same time because of time zones, and 2, it's very stressful.
Yeah, I don't
seeing
think that's a
countdown
good call.
timer.
Okay.
Also, there was somebody also asked a question. Starting to plug in values. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Mojo, to plug in values, especially when they're variables in the question and the answer. That's a good idea. It may not be the fastest thing. In this case, it probably wasn't the fastest thing. But yeah, that is not a bad choice by any means.
So there's some questions where it gives you 3 side lengths and asks if the given side lengths make a scaling, obtuse, scaling right, isosceles right, and isosceles acute. How would you differentiate between the 4? I think the definition of those makes it a little bit easier, right? So first of all, we're talking about scaling versus isosceles. So if the 2 side lengths if there are not at least 2 side lengths that are the same, you're out. All right, and then obtuse to acute or to right. That's actually a much easier one than anything else, actually.
Yeah, this is actually pretty simple. So for a right triangle, Pythagorean theorem will work, right? You have the leg squared plus the leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared.
Yeah. Sorry.
But let's think about it this way. This obviously doesn't. I'm going to start with, say, 5, 12, 13.
Oh, look at you. Because it works.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to do 6, 8, 10. It's actually a little bit easier. So we know that a 6, 8, 10, this is a scaled up 3, 4, 5 triangle. So it's a right triangle.
Pythagorean triplet.
This is scalene, for sure.
Yep.
Because they're all different lengths. But let's think about it this way. We know that these lengths work perfectly. When we square 6 and 8 and add them together, we get 10. So if we make 6 bigger, if 6 becomes a little bit taller, that means what's going to happen is we're going to have to open the triangle a little bit farther. I'm sorry. Let's look at it from this way, because that was wrong. Ignore what I just said in the last 15 seconds. If 10 is getting bigger, right? If 10 is now 20, what has to happen, which also, actually, that's impossible, so I'm not going to use that. That's a terrible example. If 10 is now 12, what's happened is that the 6 and the 8 have to just very visually have to go like that to fit in 12 inches or whatever unit, right? If it's 10, it's here, but 6 and 8 have to go like that to eat 12 and hit the edges there. So what that means is if a squared plus b squared is less than c squared, you've opened up. So it's obtuse. If this 10 shrinks, then these 2 squared are going to be greater than 10 squared, or 9 squared, let's say, So it shrinks, and that'll be acute.
It is a cute triangle.
It isn't. You're a cute triangle. Does that make sense? I like the logic behind that. I think of it as the hypotenuse. If the hypotenuse grows too much, then you have to open wider to catch the whole thing and touch each end. So that means you're making an obtuse triangle. If your hypotenuse is too big, it's forcing the triangle open.
You like that? You like that? It's a right triangle and they're wrong triangles.
Oh god. Yeah. If A
my
equals
joke.
B, then is it isosceles? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if
any two equal each other.
if any two equal each other. Now, a leg could never equal a hypotenuse because you're gonna have an issue there.
Right.
Yeah, that can't happen.
I mean, in theory, it could also be the longest leg. You could have a 10, 10, and a 2 kind of thing, right?
But it wouldn't be right.
But it wouldn't be called. Yeah, it wouldn't be a right triangle. You probably depending on if you call hypotenuse just the longest leg or the leg of the right
hypotenuse
triangle.
is opposite of the.
Largest leg. Largest leg is the hypotenuse, right? So
No,
is it
there's
always,
hypotenuse.
is it
leg.
always? Is it only a term used for?
Yeah.
No, because you can use tangent for other.
Hypotenuse is just hypotenuse. It's just opposite the right angle.
I'm gonna double check that, but I think it. I don't know if it has to be just for a right triangle, is it?
54 on
it
English,
is.
your test.
That's
Very
upsetting.
nice. Let's do it.
I don't
Yay.
like that.
Do you want to do 54 on English? Or do you want me to? I'm happy to.
Let's look at it. Let me erase these.
You're just going to take it if it's fun.
Of course, just like you took the
All
fun
right, we're
math
gonna
problem.
lag.
Which way are you going? Because you should go through the end of the test and lap around.
Did-
Nice. Wazowski. Man, my voice is
Ooh.
shot this week. It's just kind of
This
bouncing
is
all over.
fun.
54?
54.
Uh,
I'm going to underline that for you so it...
can you make it full screen
Yes.
first?
Yeah.
All right.
That's not even the right thing to underline. Oh my goodness.
The
the
fact that
fact
you can
is-
write on an imaginary screen like this is so cool. Well, it's not imaginary. It's there.
imaginary.
I mean, imagination. SpongeBob right there, right? With the anyway, rainbows and stuffs. Okay. Where is it underlined on here, Levi? 54 is down there. Elegant chandeliers. Illuminate.
Chandelier.
That's what I said. Chandeliers.
Yeah, no, that's much better.
Okay. But thank you, Mojo. We think so too. All right. So let's read the whole sentence. Inside the theater itself, comma. Is the comma a part of this? I doubt it. Elegant chandeliers illuminate rose-colored walls that have gold accents. Okay. So, inside the theater itself, elegant chandeliers illuminate okay. So, yeah. I'm going to get out of the way so I can read them. I think we moved the screens. I think we did. Okay. So, really they're asking about some commas here. They're talking about, or not really, the comma is there, sorry. They're talking about the form of the word elegant. Is it going to be elegant or elegantly? And then is it going to be illuminate or illuminates? Well, the chandeliers illuminate. The chandelier illuminates. So I know for sure that H, elegantly chandelier illuminate. That sounds horrible. H is going to be wrong. Not that one. So elegant chandeliers illuminates. Same reason there. That's wrong. Yo,
Hey.
wait, hey Brady, come on.
Why not?
Yeah, no, Brady's back, guys.
Yeah, sure. Is it F or G, Brady? Say yes. Yes.
Yes.
What's going on?
I was doing a walk-in earlier, and I think because I'm stuffed, it kind of makes it a little bit closer to how he like nasally sounds. Can you still do it? Hold on. Inside the theater itself,
Yeah, that's good.
elegant chandeliers illuminate I can't do his R as well though. Rose-colored walls that have gold accents.
What are you reading?
Right here.
okay.
54. I know you can just hear which sounds better, but can you actually break down? Yes. So you cannot have, because English, you cannot have a singular noun and then a plural, it has to be the verb and the subject have to have opposite, not tenses. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Subject, verb,
Singular
agreement.
to plural.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's weird because
Subject verb agreement, right? You need a singular chandelier illuminates something, or many chandeliers illuminate, right? Subject verb agreement. You can't have a singular that than a singular. It needs to be a singular than a plural. It's the exact opposite of Spanish or many of the other
Yeah.
Latin web languages.
When he's saying
Hold
plural,
on.
he means like the verb ends with an S.
Sorry, yes.
So what you should do here is if the subject is
Franco.
singular, use the word it. So it illuminates. So chandeliers though is plural, so we'd want to use the word they instead, and we would say they illuminate. They would not say they illuminates. So subject verb agreement right there. And you guys talked about adjectives versus adverbs.
No, I was about to.
Oh, very
Please,
good.
take it
Okay.
away.
All right, fine. I'll talk about it. Okay, so we have also the option between elegant and elegantly. When you put an ly after a word like elegant, you turn an adjective into an adverb. An adjective is a word that's used to describe a noun. So chandeliers that's a noun. We want to use an adjective like elegant to describe it. When you add the ly and you turn it into an adverb, those are words that are used to describe verbs and adjectives, but not nouns. You could say, I danced elegantly. You can't say, I danced elegant. You could say, the ball was elegant, but you can't say
They're dancing.
the dancing.
Well, yeah, because then you talk about
Then
the
it turns into a
dancing
noun.
as a
Yes,
noun. Yeah, yeah.
right, yep. So yeah, chandeliers or chandelier is... So good is an adjective and well is the adverb. So
that's what that is.
when someone says, how are you, and you say, I am well, it's because it's describing the verb of being. I am being well. Is it an adverb without an ly?
I'm sure they can.
There are certain words that are adverbs without ly, such as the word very. So if you say something's very red, very is an adverb describing the adjective of red. In this case, elegant, though, without the ly, is just an adjective.
Right. So like you just
Oh,
said.
is well an adverb. I'm sorry. Is well an adverb without an ly. Yes, well is an adverb without a ly. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Brady. All right, more questions, guys. Because Brady's back. Brady, do you mind turning off the overlay?
Absolutely.
I think my goal is just to emphasize things
Wrong
awkwardly
syllables.
tonight. Yeah. Also, at my group the other night, they gave me some trouble for having some Midwestern sayings.
What did you say?
Well, I was talking about insurance, and they're like, "Oh, you mean when you pronounce the syllables
Well,
incorrectly?"
you say insurance,
insurance, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Did I say insurance?
right? You just said it normally.
You guys are ruining me.
You
I don't
did,
like it.
wow.
I think it's probably the TV.
Mojo,
commercials.
you're taking advantage of
No,
the service.
that's what we're
We
here
love
for.
you.
It's gratis.
Yes.
Gratis. I got to speak some Spanish today at work. I was kind of stoked about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was angry, and I'm talking about some person who had just like kind of se fue. And I
Yeah.
said, I'm like, yeah, he just se fue. She's like, oh, this is, I'm like, well, when I'm angry, I speak it pretty well. So, I speak Spanish so much better when I'm angry
When
and
you're
talking
angry.
about certain topics. Certain topics I was almost fluent in.
Matrices. This is all you did.
Hey, Mojo. Matrices we talked about.
Watch out. I'm going to switch you so I can do this. I'm going to switch
Yes,
you here so I
yes,
can do
yes,
this.
yes. Matrices we
Oh,
talked
no.
about. I made a post about it on the ACT Discord, so you can probably find that if you search Nerdish.
Oh,
on
you have a
the ACT
specific
Discord.
question? Absolutely.
Oh.
But yeah, you covered it
very
yesterday, right?
Nice. Yesterday or the day before, I don't remember.
It would not have been the day before
you
because
were
that's
here.
when I did most of the shit.
Got it.
Because you
So then it was the
forgot
next
to do
day.
vocabulary
I
in
didn't.
context.
You made me do something else first.
No, you just weren't going to
No,
do
I
it.
didn't want to.
All right. Yeah, if you find the question, we'll go over it.
We will let you find the question.
Hey,
then you come
Peter.
back here.
That's
You
not-
tell
it's not
us
too
the
deep.
question, and then you.
Is that your walking?
No, that's my. It's the Billy, whatever his name is, from The Princess Bride, when he's in the little hut and he's the guy who fixes the,
so
the main
lost.
character.
Yes.
I don't.
I know. Yeah.
I
The-
don't.
the
All
guy-
right.
The guy.
If you guys have any questions about the SAT, sorry, the ACT, the SAT, whatever, but the ACT, excuse me, because it's this weekend, let us know. Check Discord.
Oh my gosh.
Also, for all of you watching, we do this every week. This is not something we are doing only because of the ACT this weekend.
This weekend.
You like that?
I did.
Yeah, I've got that.
There's no X.
Oh, there is. Okay, there.
General.
Just a
You
little
want to read it out? I'll read it.
scalar multiplication and scalar
I'll read it. I
subtraction.
should read it.
Sorry,
And then you
matrix
can do
do
it.
it. Yeah, 2
Yes.
times. Here we go. 5, 3x4
Ooh, minus.
minus the matrix.
Say it at the same time, please. Otherwise, I don't understand.
1, 2, 3.
2,
2,
7,
7, 3, 1. And a matrix.
And matrix.
And
Equals.
matrix.
Open matrix. Red pill. Blue pill.
8,
8, negative 1, 6, 7.
What?
Wow.
Jeez.
Wait, say it again, both of you.
8, negative 1, 6, 7.
Mojo, you'll see this is not as hard as you think.
Could be
Yeah,
much
no,
harder,
the
though.
UWorld is, there's a good chance it's going to be more difficult than the ACT.
Yeah, this is easy. This is nice. Or this is simple once you know it. Yeah.
There's
Step-
very little you have to do.
We'll see. So step 1 is, well, let's deal with this 2.
Yes.
This 2 is in front of this matrix. What that means is that this
on.
2 is multiplied by this matrix. This is called scalar multiplication. It's just like distribution. Everything in this matrix gets multiplied by 2. And I have nothing. I have no markers or no, hold on.
Oh no, there's no one on screen. We can't have that.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just multiply that 2 into all of these things, and let's see what we get. That's going to turn into 10, 10, 6, 2x, 8. Okay? Just like distributing. All right, 2 times each of these things. We have 10, 6, 2x, and 8. And then when you subtract, all you're doing is subtracting numbers in corresponding places. All right? So the top left corner, we're going to have 10 minus 2, and that's going to get us the top left corner 8, which is what we have. We have 6 minus 7. That gets us negative 1. We have 2x minus 3, which gets us 6. Interesting. We have 8 minus 1 is 7. So the important thing here is the thing that involves x, which is 2x minus 3 is equal to 6. Brendan's going to go ahead and solve that.
No, I'm just doing it so they can see it.
Oh, they can see it. Okay. Do you know how to multiply the negative 1 instead of using subtraction? I mean, you could. It's just like normal addition or
Same
subtraction.
thing.
Yeah, you could turn all these numbers into negatives and then just add. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to have 2x plus negative 3 is 6, which is effectively the same thing as 2x minus 3.
So, to get to here, I want to tell you something that's quicker, which is probably what Brady was going to get to.
Yeah.
I cut him off. He couldn't do it. So, I know X is here, so I only care about those.
Yes. Totally.
That's it. So
I
that's
was, yeah.
No. He's showing you matrices because you asked about it because you're not comfortable with them. Once you're comfortable with them, you are able to only worry about those values.
Yes.
Right? So that means I say, well, 2 times x, right, minus 3 equals 6, and we get here without having to go through this. We have this here. Here, I got it. I got it, Brady.
Okay.
Wrong side of the pencil.
That's embarrassing.
I know. Why?
Can you ignore the others?
Because
all it's asking about is x.
I only care about x, right? So I don't care what the other things are. I'm saying that I know matrices, when you're adding or subtracting, this one is going to here, right? This is subtracting here to equal this. 5 is subtracting 2 to get, or a negative, wait. Sorry, yes, 2 times that. So let's do it here. 10 minus 2 equals 8. 6 minus 7 equals negative 1. So 2x minus 3 equals 6. So I really don't have to worry about solving for the other ones. That's just wasted time. Does that make sense? I got it. Don't worry.
Jeez, that's annoying.
I know. Every other time it's been fun.
Ah!
Hey,
Oh, that's
Hey,
fantastic.
Brady.
Yes. Hey, Peter. No.
Hey, Peter.
He can do it. He's really good.
But it's my voice is almost too
Yeah,
deep because
all
I'm
caps.
sick right
so
now.
much
All
sense.
caps. Fantastic.
That's what we're here for.
Yes. Someone somewhere in this world named Mojo123 just had one of those aha moments where something that was blocked just came undone. And honestly, Brendan and I don't know about Levi, but Brendan and I convert that to nourishment. So I won't have to eat for like a month now.
I mean, I've been eating for you for the past month.
That's
Look at
true.
me.
I actually eat Brendan's nourishment.
Soylent?
I slowly.
That's what's been happening to me?
I just kind of.
That's why I've been wasting away?
scrape some of your skin off every night and just kind of eat
That's
that.
all right.
It's weird. I know.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Okay.
fine.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Guys, again, I'm going to keep saying this because this happens a lot when we do these cram sessions. A lot of you check in. You're like, oh, wow, I wish I had known about this. Like, we do this all the time, though. So if this is not the last test you're taking, or if you know other people who need help with the test, we do this 5 days a week, every week, rain or snow, because it's indoors. Spoiler alert.
Indoors.
Indubitably. I'm trying to find one from your test. Yeah, there might be on there. If not, you can just find one anywhere.
Pick one up off the ground. We don't care. Just take a picture of it.
Man. We don't care. There
We don't
go.
care where your questions are from, as long as they are about ACT, SAT.
Now, we might give some feedback if we don't like them, and we'll tell you, we're very candid about who we do and don't like.
Yes.
I
I like Brendan and I don't like Levi.
There it is.
Things like
very
that.
candid.
What?
Very
Yep.
candid.
No,
Wait, you
Levi's
didn't
off
know?
screen.
You didn't know?
He couldn't hear. I'm back.
Hey, Bob Jamaro.
Bob Jamaro.
Like Bob tomorrow. But Bob Jamaro.
What about Bob yesterday?
I don't think they've joined the stream yet. they're working, but long time worker, first time commenter.
Bob yesterday. That's a good
I
guy.
like starting with that. Long time worker, first time talker,
Oh, jeez.
first time poster.
I got this. Where's the pen? Where's
It's
the,
on the.
jeez.
It's literally right there.
Oh, it's hiding right on in plain sight.
Oh, also, did you not have much footage from me the other night? It's not my real name. I don't know if I believe you.
Probably is.
Brady. No, the other night when I was streaming mostly by myself, there was
Yes.
a lot of embarrassing things that I'm almost glad you don't have footage of.
No, I'm sure I had. Oh, yes, that's one. You're right.
Yeah. No, I had a lot of weird noises and faces, and I went, Brady's probably going to record that.
Oh, I could have used those.
You know what's funny, though?
What?
And I'm surprised you haven't thought of this. You can just download it from any of the 3 places.
Oh, I know. It's just the downloading takes a while. It's just, or I could just do a screen recording. I don't know. It depends how.
Oh,
Bob
that is
Jamaro.
terrible
So
quality.
it's very likely
do
that
that.
that
We lost
is
it.
your name
No.
because if it is and you made a massive mistake by giving us your full first and last name,
Or by
this would be the type of thing you'd say. Also, that's a very Bob Jamaro type of thing to say. That's not my name.
Hashtag that's so Bob Jamaro of 2019.
For you.
For me. .com. Today.
Look, just you can also pick that up, dude.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
Have.
It's voice activated also.
Yes.
How do you know which one? Because my of is just
my
never
God.
correct.
Yes, it's never of.
What are you
Should
doing?
of, could of, would of, never correct. It's all should have, could have, and would have.
Bless you.
The contraction sounds like of, so like should have. I should have done something sounds like I should have done something, but the contraction is short for should have.
Well, it depends on the font you're writing in.
I will make you into a font, and it will be called
Papyrus.
Levi, and
That'd
you
be the
will write
worst.
it in Levi's blood. That's how the font will work.
That got dark, and I'm okay with it.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes.
I like it a lot.
Good.
Yo, Bird, your eyes went completely dark there.
I know.
They're like the whole. There's no whites.
You know
in
what's
your eyes.
interesting, Bob?
Like
I came up with
alien-esque.
the name Gustav Orkin Fallopian in high school because I put it on all of my college stuff that I was writing. Not like my
You
application,
did?
not my application, but like when I was saying, "Hey, I'm interested in this," and you get just droves of work or brochures and stuff.
No,
I said I was
they don't know
Gustav
that.
Orkin Fallopian.
They're not used to that. They get spam email.
Oh, you get emails, right? We got.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys
We got
maybe get a
letters.
little bit of hard
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah, there wasn't
paper,
internet
the
until.
thing you can write on,
yeah.
but not in the shower. Silly.
We're not that old. We had that stuff too.
What an interesting qualifier.
Emails,
but
you can
not in
read
the shower.
Yeah, paper. You can write on, but like not in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't technically write on like your.
No,
phone
in
the shower.
in middle school, there were people who were like, "Oh, they created a way to make paper usable in water, and you can still write on it." Da, 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 da. And we're like, "Oh no, they're gonna give us homework that we can now do in our shower because like it's gonna be that hard." And it's just
Yeah.
for some reason that stuck with me. And
So
it's
it's
silly.
like you didn't get your homework done in time, you're taking a shower the morning of, and you're like, oh, I still got to do that. And
Well, I
then
mean, you have
just do it
shower
in the
thoughts,
shower.
and you're just better at thinking when you're in the
True,
shower. Math
true,
45
true.
from your test.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that was an aggressive way to say your.
Ooh, my name that I
Correctly.
made up with a friend that I used on everything was
Lagging.
Wrinkly McFlapsquirt. I loved Wrinkly McFlapsquirt. I put it on.
Yep.
I got-
Okay.
I got in trouble
Given
one time
that
for that.
A times 2614 equals x27 yz for some real number A, what is x plus z? No, that's fine. So we want, find
One more matrix.
x plus z. You're horrible. So we need to find the values for x and z. What we know is that A is being multiplied by these values, right? And it's only multiplication. So some scalar multiplication, A times 2, A times 1, A times 6, A times 4, whatever, is going to give us x, y, z, and 27. The only way we can solve for this right now is with the only thing we can solve for, right? Earlier on the last matrix problem Brady did, I said you only need to look at one of these and you can kind of skip around from there. The first thing, the only thing I really want to look at is A times 6 equals 27 because the only unknown I have is A. Any other value I go with, I have two unknowns. So I'm going to say A times 6 equals 27. So A equals 27 over 6, which is pretty gross. But don't let it know I said that because it's pretty self-conscious.
You can simplify it.
You could do 3s. 9. 9 over 2.
Yeah, Bob Jamaro got it 4.5. Absolutely.
Nice. But now what? Well, I'm glad you asked. All right. So,
He's just a friendly neighborhood Brendan.
friendly neighbor. Everybody needs one.
Yes.
No, not everybody needs one. I'm more than aware of that. So we have A times 2, right? So 2A, one might say.
would
For
say.
X, And z is going to be 4a. Now, conveniently, this is 2. Wait, why is that convenient? Well, because I can substitute this in, so I have 2 times 9 over 2 equals x. So x equals 9. Boom, wowza, so easy. Maybe it's not, maybe it is. But the easy part is that the 2's cancel. Great. Now I'm going to plug a in for here, and I'm going to get twice that, so z equals 18. I'm going to add those together. I'm going to get 27. Now, the reason I didn't want to simplify this from the get-go, hold on.
You're good. It's fine.
The gecko.
The gecko. Oh, very good. Yeah. One reason I wasn't... Brady, can you turn this off now?
Yes.
So one reason I wasn't necessarily wanting to simplify this, but Brady said too, and I like that, is I have this value over 6, right? And if I were to... wrong one. It's the one that's highlighted already. Highlighted already? Brady, what are you doing?
I don't know.
So if I look at this value, I'm looking at x plus z, and if I plug these in, I get 2a plus 4a, get out of here, both of you, equals 27 over 6. Now, conveniently, this is 6a equals 27 over 6. So, to get... Wait, did I do that right? I hate having
6a
that.
is equal to...
Yeah.
How do you know... Oh, are you... Because you already used 27...
X plus z. I started with 27 over 6. So I didn't even simplify.
How can you set it equal to a, though?
Set what equal to a?
You said 2a plus 4a equal to 27 over 6.
Yeah, x plus z equals... Oh, sorry. You're right.
Got it.
Equals answer. Thank you. Equals what we want. And then, right here, we have that a equals 27 over 6, so those 6's cancel.
My Lord Jason,
That's what I like.
have you any
Oh,
questions,
hey, King
my
Jason.
lord?
What's up?
Any questions, my lord?
The king is here.
Man, my octaves right now are just stupid.
The king is here!
You have very stupid octaves, my lord.
That's what I said.
His octaves are the stupidest.
The dimmest of the octaves in the whole medieval
Stupid.
kingdom.
Your octaves are stupid.
Got a stupid octave, don't you?
I didn't know there was an H
2
in
plus 2 is fish.
there. I've seen that one.
Yeah, can you show us that? I don't know what that is.
Yo!
Yeah,
Elliot,
it's something
awesome.
like there's
Good
a
to see
2
you.
here, and then there's a
Oh, upside down 2.
and there's
Yeah.
2 here, and then
Is
there's
that-
plus
Yeah, that's a goldfish.
fish. Plus
Oh,
it's a dead fish. Fishy.
Species. It is 5.
Why are
It is
you
also 6 plus 2 is 5.
sleeping?
Could you do the writing thesis for your test? What do you mean by that? Like,
I'm gonna go with maybe.
could we do it or could
Kind of
one
a
do it?
definite maybe.
And what do you mean by the writing thesis for? Oh,
What do you mean by you?
our test. Yeah, they want us to pull up with our test.
Got it.
Oh.
That
I
was
don't
very- that was a
know.
very
Do we
good
have it on
question.
there?
Oh, we'll find out.
Hold on, Levi. Before you do that, we're going to find out what the audience has said. All right, go ahead. You're in middle school? Well, way to start out.
King
Way to
Jason?
start early, man. No
King
problem.
Jason, very good. If you're not already the king,
You guys are too smart on your version of the test. Give us your test. Let's go. Come on. Come on.
No, we don't
Yeah.
have it.
I want to play. Let's
we
go.
don't have
We
it.
don't have it.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, I don't think we put it on.
Here's something that's kind of
Sorry.
optimistic. They don't take the writing, the essay score, and put it in your composite. It's not part of it.
They don't really
So
care.
it's, some schools require us to see it, require that you do it, but it's not as important as the composite score. But we should have it on our overlay, and I'm sorry that we don't. That's on Brendan.
Because I'm the one who does the tech stuffs.
He's Mr. Tech Word.
For now,
Public
until I
health and
learn
individual
enough to
freedom.
bump it
Oh,
out.
no, we don't talk about politics. Sorry.
Or individual freedom. There's
That's,
no freedom here.
Individual.
Sit down.
Right.
That's what it says.
Remember, we don't need freedom.
Oh, that's right.
You
yes.
don't need freedom.
I don't need freedom.
Yes, you are
We
fine.
agree.
I don't need.
Go. No. Go back to your cage. I mean, the room. That was... All right.
Randy does some horrifying things.
All the time. It's in the chord. The discord. It is easier. Do you agree that being lefty They still think. No, you're not
no,
actually
you're
writing
seeing
backwards.
I don't know what. Like, it's surprising that you don't realize that, but you are seeing backwards.
Bob Jamaro, I'm the onne that's actually lefty here. It looks like I'm writing with my
We're
right hand.
right-handed.
This is my left hand because the
This
camera
is
flips
my
everything.
right.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't look it. The flip it.
The
Yes.
flip it. Yes, I
The
will
flip it.
invest
Of course.
in one.
You
quick
heard of
flip it.
the flip it.
Of course.
Sorry, we
Flip
don't
it.
mean to mess with you like that, but it's too good to pass
Hey,
up.
Mojo, thank you for the thing, but you didn't
You thought of us
give
too?
all of it.
Oh,
So these
no,
are the
no.
3 perspectives, but you didn't give there should
The
be something
prompt.
above the perspectives, I think. Unless I'm wrong, but
Don't
it
worry.
might be below
We're
it.
not going to die on average 7 years sooner than our
Woo!
right-handed counterparts.
But we are
We're sorry,
more
boys.
of the presidents of lefties than
Yeah,
the
look where
righties.
that got us.
Presidents? There are more
40
there are more presidents than
46,
than
45?
lefties.
Something like that.
we're lefties. Stand
Standing
by.
by.
Yes, standing by.
Nah, jokes. I'm not the robot.
Yes.
They are.
There's a lot of presidents that were lefty. Is it? I think there are more presidents that are lefty than there are righty. I think there's that's a thing.
Maybe. Oh, they sent the whole thing.
Check.
Yo, Mojo, nice profile photo. Let's go.
Is that
It's,
SpongeBob?
it's Squidward.
Squidward.
SpongeBob.
Walk away. Just walk
Ah,
away.
Squidward.
I like Squidward.
No. I can't. I feel like having a clogged nose would help with this, but all I know is that we don't talk about politics.
If I
So for
had
math timing,
Squidward insult.
if I had $1 for every brain you didn't have, I'd have $1.
$1. I can't do him. The first 40 questions as best you can while still maintaining accuracy. Yeah, I'd say the first 30 more than the first 40, but yeah. Yeah, I mean whatever
Yeah.
you're capable of
You
doing.
you wanna try
Also-
to go. Yeah.
I know you just joined.
Yes. Did I miss
But,
some important things?
It's time. No, it's time.
It's time to do.
Pass out here.
Oh, to leave.
Affine.
Oh, I see. Understand. Yeah, it's 10:30. You're right.
Guys, it is 10:30, which means currently it's past my bedtime because
Yeah.
I have to wake up super early
He's
tomorrow.
gonna wake up so early, guys. What are you doing to him?
This is why I'm sick. For the kids. Think of the children.
I always. Yeah, for me to. Okay, Mojo. Tomorrow
Mañana.
we can't do it tonight because it's so late.
No vosotros. Why vosotros though? It would be
What?
nosotros. I think I said vosotros.
No.
No, nosotros hacemos hoy.
Chao, ha sido un
Chao.
placer a enseñarles esta noche.
All right.
Him
let's
with
get out of here.
that accent.
Wait.
just
Are
hurts.
you signing off right now?
Yeah.
Well, we got to answer the question that Mojo posted. It's pretty quick. Okay, so Mojo.
Cheers to that. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, they're gonna go. I'll deal with it.
I'm sick. I have to wake
Okay.
up early.
So this public health question, this if you want to know, this is Mojo's question in the Discord. It is probably pretty helpful to read it because in that first blurb, you should definitely read that. It gives you some examples. So restricting car emissions. This is basically pitting freedom against restrictions with regards to health concerns. So I'm not going to tell you what your thesis should be, but it should probably. I mean, you can maybe straddle the line, which is doable. Or you can take one of the sides, right? Freedom over everything, or freedoms definitely cannot endanger the health or safety of other people, right? I personally really like perspective 3, where it says the right to avoid health risks is a freedom too. When we allow individual behavior to endanger others, we've damaged both freedom and health. That's interesting. So your thesis, so your introduction should be. I don't know if this was about America. Let's say it's not necessarily. So say when a government is deciding when to govern, yada yada yada, they have to take into account protecting their people and giving their people, their unalienable rights, something like that. Maybe you want to throw in some little quotes from the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence from our country, because that's a nice thing to do, right? It would be nice and pretty. You get to your thesis, which could be on either side. Let's say that you say that a freedom is, we are assumed to have all the freedoms except these restrictions, and that's what we say. So, freedom is good until you hit harming other people. So that's going to be your thesis, and then you have to deal with each of these perspectives. So I would say, maybe start with your first support, which is that freedom stops being a freedom. Like you're going to maybe transition into that. Oh, this is hard to do without writing it all down. You're transitioning into that by giving it some context, which might be freedom for, like, maybe let's start with number 3. So the right to avoid health risks is a freedom. So say that freedoms, an individual person's freedom does not exist in a vacuum because they have effects on other people, right? So that could be in your intro paragraph, that could be part of your thesis, but it could also be that first supporting body, which is freedom does not exist in a vacuum, therefore there are freedoms that could butt heads. Don't use those words. And then you deal with perspective 3, which says the right to avoid health risks is a freedom. So then you get into this, you pull this apart, and then you give examples. You could reference the examples that they gave before these in that first blurb, or you could come up with your own. So you have the freedom to wave your arms around, but you don't have the freedom to wave your arms around if there's like a small child next to you getting smacked in the face by your waving arms, right? Maybe that's a little bit frivolous of an example, but like killing people, maybe you want to be free to kill people, but you shouldn't because that restricts their freedom of being alive. So that is when those two different freedoms butt heads, and the safety one should win out. So that could be your first body paragraph, and then your next one could be that dealing with perspective 2. So you say that to some people argue that freedom is the most valuable thing that society gives us. Then you say that is a hypocritical statement. Let's see. Perhaps physical health is sometimes improved by restricting freedom, but the cost to the health of our free society is far too great to justify. So then you go into that. You say, oh, but the health of our society is more important than somebody's. Is it better to say some people believe versus perspective? Yes. Some people believe. Ideally, you can say, if in this case it doesn't work because you don't have a group of people specifically. You could, like if you wanted to say the Tories believe, which is not a political party here, so it's fine for me to say that. The Tories believe that this thing. Say that ideally, but yes, some people believe that, or some people argue that. Better than saying perspective 2, because if you're not reading those other things, it's just not helpful to say perspective 2. So you could say, with this paragraph, you could say, well, if everybody's getting killed, then the society will fall apart because there's no safety. There's no individual safety, so you don't have that freedom to be safe. So your argument actually seems to be becoming that you freedoms butt heads, and therefore the freedom of safety is necessary before the freedom to cause harm to others. There's a hierarchy of freedom within freedom. So maybe that's your essay thesis. There are a lot of ways to do this, but the important thing is to incorporate each of the perspectives. It's generally a pretty easy thing in your mind to work through. Each of them will get a body paragraph, and you either agree or disagree with it. Now, don't just say it's right or it's wrong. You want to give supporting evidence, ideally examples that you come up with. Don't make them up. Don't make up statistics. It's not that helpful. And you want to delve into them. So don't copy them word for word. Try to interpret them in a different way and maybe expand on them and put them in the context that you've taken, which is we need freedom in our society, but we also need safety. So maybe your whole essay ends up becoming about freedom is built on safety. So if it disrupts safety, then it's no longer a freedom, something like that. Okay, I think that's enough for now. If you have any follow-up questions, just put it in the Discord, and I can answer it. Probably not tonight because I'm tired, but sometime tomorrow before stream or during. Okay, have a good night, everybody, for those of you who are still here because it's late. And we will see you in 21.5 hours-ish. Yeah, have a good night. Brady, we're done streaming. You can say whatever you want now.
No.
Don't do that. Don't do that.